பிரசாதி கலிபோ
A moment of great pleasure to welcome all the poets and the delegates to this wonderful event of literary nature. We are celebrating the 25th year of our CPC, that is Chennai Poets Circle. But we never imagined when we started with a small group 25 years ago that it will get a momentum and will become a popular intellectual movement in India. It was confined to Madras city once and then it spread among the southern states. It has become national, and to put it secondly, it has become global. Some of our poets come from Canada, America, and even from London. This global significance is the continuous effort of our artist fellows like Kannan and Hemaravi and Haryana to push our creative energy to the top. Be proud, you belong to the elite set of Indian writers. And remember, some of our poets started writing poems here. Now they have bloomed with wonderful poems. So, this Chennai Poets Circle gives impetus to your creative energy. Artist one, I shall tell some basic historical facts about our creative work. In the beginning, there was a question that should we use English for our creative writing. Some of the Orthodox Indian scholars disapprove of it. But we should realize that English has contributed to our nationalism, our freedom movement, and our emergence as a great nation in the world. You forget the days of colonialism, of white man's exploitation, of Africans and Asian. But at the same time, that man has contributed something to India. Whenever I travel by train, or when I go to vacation to some hill spots, or whenever I look at the post office systems, I do understand the contribution of English. But that is not enough. English has become a part of our national life. As we take a football, tea, plantations and coffee as Indian or old, we can absorb English also because India is a country that absorbs the best things in the world. India never discriminates. It is a broad ocean wherein we can go and live happily. We welcome Jews to Kerala 2000 years ago. We welcome Parsis from Persia. We have welcomed all communities here. So we have got a tolerant man and we cannot discriminate English. That's part of a community called Anglo-Indian community. So those are the people who began to write about India in English. That's marvelous. There is a fellow called the Rasi. He is a mixed origin. He is of Eurasian community. He is said to be of Portuguese origin, but he loved India very much. You wrote poems about India. The poem Carp of India, India my native land, are wonderful poems. He expresses his love for India, his culture, the culture for India. He says, you are a harp, but nobody is singing with your music. You step back to road glory. That's real marvelous thing. And there is another one, a woman poetess called Dorudat. Her beautiful poem is Castle Nation. There she expressed her love for our Indian environment. So those people have contributed. After that, our Indian poets wrote Madhusudan and other poets have written in wonderful ways. Tagore is the greatest writer of our Indian writing English. These are three great periods. Period of English grew, then the period of independence movement, then the period of post-independence. You got all sorts of writers. Tagore comes in the period of colonialism. But at the same time, there is a period of freedom. You look at the poems of Arabindo, Sarojini, they were all striving for the freedom of our country. At the same time, they reflected Indian culture. So you may ask, why you choose English? English being widely spoken, your leadership is widely recognized. When you write in your native language, you are confined to a state. But when you write in English, you go across the world. Take Arthur Narayan. His novels are known throughout the world. It is because he selected English as the medium of his novel writing. So we should be very proud of writing in English. And it is more equipped because Indians write in English better than English writers themselves. That's the point. You don't know that. Our scholar Srinivasa Sastry corrected the English speeches of Churchill. He found fault with his English. Similarly, he found fault with letters of Gandhi. So we pick up English very quickly because of nature of adaptation. So nothing wrong when you write English and nothing wrong when you get a global English. After the independence, they have got rebellious writers. There is a writer from Kerala, Kamaladas. Oh, she speaks in feminism and writes about the rights of feminism. Wonderful writer. She was not shackled by our conventions. And there is Garuwala, the police officer, accused officer, who is from Lahore and south of India. And there are two writers from south. Ramakrishna, A.K. Raman Basari, who did a lot of translation and bring to life Indian culture. They have contributed wonderfully to the tapestry of world literature. Be proud that you are a participant of this movement. And remember, Madras is the intellectual capital of India. You take Bombay as the financial capital. Money is there everywhere. You take Calcutta as your cultural capital. You take Delhi as your political capital. But for education evolution, scholarship and knowledge come to Madras. First he started in Calcutta. Then he shifted to Bombay. Then he came to Orissa. Then he had to Orissa in English. But last it has come to Madras. Today, Madras is the mecca of the English poems written by Indian writers. We are proud of you. We are proud of your presence. We take us as a member of one of our family. Very often, Padmaja will say, CPC is my second home. It is not your second home. It is your first home. You will be entertained here. You got lot of hospitality. Be happy here. God will bless you. I wish you a very happy year and very happy moment. Thank you very much.
Thank He always sets the tone for what's to come. So let's give him a big round of applause. I wish to extend a hearty welcome to Mr. Ramakrishna Ramasamy. He's a leading writer who won the Chief Minister's Purkiri Award recently. So let's give him a warm welcome and welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning. May I now call Dr. Khannan to deliver the presidential address.
Good morning and welcome to all. This is very sober occasion, that's why I would like to give you a small talk on the impact of AA for the poets, particularly for the students. Therefore, I am restricting my speech to a written text. Esteemed Chief Guest Dr. Ganesh, Chairman of CBC Dr. Tirumeni, Hemani, Ravirendran, esteemed poets, teachers, students, friends, and lovers of language. While happily celebrating the 25th anniversary of CPC today, we would like to place on record the amazing contribution by the founders of CPC, its office bearers, and all those inspiring poets who have been a part of the creative, poetic journey of CPC all these years. We convey our deep sense of gratitude, especially to late Dr. Rangaswamy, the first president of CPC, late Dr. Nidhi Vidkar, the eminent poet par excellence. I call him as the lion among the poets. People who have dealt with him know his depth of it. Dr. S.L. Priya, the versatile Sufi poet, and Mrs. Sivakami Valiyagiri, the illustrious poet, awesome organizer, and philanthropist. This year also, there has been amazing participation by poets from different walks of life, covering a wide range of subjects in various poetic forms. 143 poets, including 48 poets, have contributed to Efflorescence 2025, marking the 25th anniversary of CPC. As usual, women poets excel men poets, not only in number, but also in terms of coverage, depth, and also the emotional climax. Our grateful thanks to all of them for their active participation. Now I would like to speak on the key topic of the day, poetry in the age of artificial intelligence. We meet today at a moment unlike any other in literary history. For centuries, poets have written with quills, candles, typewriters, and laptops. Today, we write in the presence of something new, artificial intelligence, a system that can imitate form, echo voice, and summon language at astonishing speed. Some fear this moment, others dismiss it. But poets, true poets, must understand it. Because poetry has never been about rules, it has always been about consciousness. What AA is and what it is not. Let me be clear. AA does not feel loss. AA does not remember childhood. AA does not wait for a letter that never arrives. AA does not know love, sharing, devotion, exile or awe. What AA has is pattern memory. What poets have is a living meaning. This difference is not a threat, it is our advantage. AI can generate language, only poets can generate truth. What poets have is lived meaning. What is the meaning of this? Poets don't just know words, they have experienced what the words point to. Let me unpack it very gently. There is a subtle difference between meaning and lived meaning. Meaning refers to a definition, an explanation, a pattern. Lived meaning refers to meaning that has passed through your human life. For example, grief has meaning. Deep sorrow caused by loss. Grief has lived meaning. The way your book sounds different after someone dies. The hesitation before deleting your phone number. The steady guilt of laughing again. The headache knows the first. The poet knows the second. Why lived matters? Lived meaning comes from memory, time, contradiction, bodily sensation, moral choice, consequence. A poet has waited, has failed, loved wrongly, changed their mind, been ashamed, been forgiven.
Is lived meaning. And consequences does not mean public reaction, praise, criticism, fame or controversy. It means the inner cause. A consequence is something the poet risked or changed by writing the poem with his emotional exposure, moral commitment, personal memory, reopened, a truth that cannot be taken back, a relationship strained, an identity revealed. In short, writing that mattered to the writer first. The core question, when you ask, could this have been written without consequences? You are really asking, could the poet have written this without feeling anything, without revealing something real, without being altered by it? If the answer is yes, then the poem may be clever, fluent, technically competent, but it is likely to be a shallow experience. Now, the final one. See, in an age where language is abundant, poems are instant, style is easily copied, the consequences, they become the measure of humanity. AI can produce poems without consequences. Humans cannot live without them. So this question helps you distinguish language from experience, output from truth, poems that sound right from poems that are right. The meaning in one sentence, if you ask me, to ask whether a poem could have been written without consequences is to ask whether it arises from lived risk, inner change, or moral exposure, or whether it is merely language arranged without cost. Now that question, Visvakshemartha siddhaye satyapanam sadakaryam anyatha syat mahasankatam. That is, welcome AI for accomplishment of universal welfare. But verification should always be done, otherwise there would be great catastrophe. To conclude, what poets have is lived meaning, means that poets write from experiences that have changed them, and that change is what gives their words depth, credibility and emotional truth, something no machine can possess, only imitate. But I add a caveat, at least for the time being. Tomorrow it can also happen. Therefore, don't underestimate technology. Now, that is why poetry still belongs to humans. Thank you, AI. Thank you all.
Clear. So AI is a good servant but a bad master. So never let it overrule you. I'm sure all the poets, the young poets particularly, will understand that. So thank you, sir. May I now call Dr.
Salute, here, Dr. Tirumeni, Dr. Kannan, Mr. Ranganathan, Ravi Ranganathan, and Ms. Hema Ravi. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be a part of the 25th year of the Chennai Poetry Circle. As I was telling Dr. Stephen this morning, to start something is easy, but to sustain it is extremely difficult. 25 long years of sustaining poetry, allowing poets to write and publish them in order to give them recognition and validity and authenticity is a great service that CPC has done. I'm reminded of that famous statement made by Matthew Arnold in the Victorian period when he was plagued with crass materialism, philistinism, dilettantism, superficiality. He begins his essay, The Study of Poetry. Dr. Sridevi obviously will know. The future of poetry is immense. Now, a statement that was made during troubled times when they thought that poetry will be lost, religion losing its value. He made that very important statement that the future of poetry is immense. And we live in a time, I think Dr. Kannan spoke about AI, right? It's a wonderful thing. At the same time, it can be a bit of a dampener. So we live in a time when, say, materialism is at its peak, value systems are getting eroded. So we need, obviously, to encode values, to encode, say, important value systems, knowledge systems, only through poetry. Poetry is a great means to sustain. And efflorescence to 2025, you know, that word itself suggests a process of flowering, blooming. But more importantly, it is to unfold and express consciousness. I think Dr. Kannan used the term consciousness. So it is ultimately an expression of consciousness. It is an expression of imagination. And each poet gets his or her identity by writing poetry. Now, the topic given to me is current trends in English poetry in India. I thank Dr. Tirumeni for giving us an excellent overview of English poetry, say up to K.K. Daruwala. I may obviously take a few points from his speech. Now, I wish to begin this talk with a very important statement made by Raja Rao, the author of novels, Cat and Shakespeare, mainly Kantapura. In his preface to Kantapura, he makes this very important statement, which would be an excellent lesson for all of us, particularly people writing in English. He says, we cannot write like the English, right? Initially, it looks like a self-defeatist statement, that we cannot emulate them, we cannot write like them. And I think Dr. Tirumeni made that important statement that we write better than them. So in that context, he says we cannot write like the English, and then he says we should not. Raja Rao is very important for us, particularly poets who write in English and teachers of poetry like Dr. Sridevi and I and others in the audience. And then he says we cannot write only as Indians. Right? Very important statements, each one of them. We cannot write like the English, we cannot write only as Indians. We have grown to look at the larger world as part of us. When Dr. Tirumeni said that CPC has obviously branched out into the other parts of the globe, inviting poets from other places, other geographical locations and cultural climates, I think this is precisely a very transnational kind of an experience that we have with regard to poetry. And then he makes an important statement. Our method of expression, therefore, has to be a dialect which will someday prove to be as distinctive and colorful as the Irish or the American. Time alone will justify. Raja Rao finishes that preface by saying, time alone will justify. And for me, 25 years of CPC has justified it. That you can write in English, you can create a dialect of your own, you can, you know that say in my time, say particularly Indian English in itself was looked down upon. I think Dr. Sridhar will agree with me, when we joined the department as teachers, apart from the Part 2 English classes, let's say, we will be given only Indian writing in English, because we can manage it, right? The authorities thought that we can manage Indian writing English, Milton, Shakespeare, all beyond us. We should have at least 5 to 10 years of experience. Now that climate has completely changed. You need a lot of energy and vitality to teach Indian literature in English today. So we begin with Raja Rao, and then I will speak about a very important thing with regard to this subject called Indian writing in English, or Indian literature in English. I call this the politics of nomenclature, the politics of naming. Now, I don't think any body of literature anywhere in the world has so many names. Right? A child is born, you give a name, you give a nickname, you may have few more names, but to carry on giving names to a body of writing, it has happened only to this particular body of writing, which is Indian literature in English. We had a label called Anglo-Indian literature, which obviously referred to Eurasians, people who are Anglo-Indians. Then we had Indo-English literature. As one critic said, it looks like a memorandum of understanding, right? It's not poetry. It's not a name for poetry. Indo-British literature, Indo-Anglian literature, Indo-Anglican literature. Anglican, you know, is part of a church experience, right? And then Indian writing in English. Dr. Tirumeni referred to K.R. Srinivasa Iyengar and also Srinivasa Sastry, right? Now, Sachidanandan, K. Sachidanandan, a critic from Kerala, problematized this particular label called Indian writing in English by saying that there is a difference between writing in English and writing English. Right? He beautifully argued in an essay that the preposition in separates the act of writing and the language used to write. Right? Now we pride ourselves in the fact that we can express ourselves in English without any sense of hesitation or any sense of reservation. But this title, writing in English, becomes a problem according to him, where he said writing English is a positive term, writing in English is almost an apologetic term. Right? It's like, let's say you learn German and then somebody tells you can write in German. That's fine. But we have lived with English for such a long period of time, to say that we write in English, I think again will be a kind of self-defeatist exercise. Now again, Tirumeni referred to the idea of, say, we mastering English. I would like to refer to a very interesting essay by Narayan called 15 Years. R.K. Narayan wrote an essay called 15 Years. It's like a story actually. You know, in 1947, it was decided in the parliament that English will go after 15 years. Meaning 1962, English must have been wiped out of this country, right? It was decided in the parliament. 15 years given to English language, Quit India movement for the Quit India in British, then Quit India English in 1962. But you know, we are still speaking and communicating with ourselves in English. Now, why did I bring in Narayan? Narayan makes a very important statement there. English language is summoned to the court. And English language is asked to go. And English language makes a very important statement. Why should I go? I have become a handmaiden of Goddess Saraswati. I have become a part of the Indian sensibility. I have become the part of Indian emotional landscape. Why should I go? No, the judge says we have decided that you should go. And he pronounces judgment in the typical British English, that the English language turns to the judge and say, oh, you speak brilliant English. And the judge is embarrassed and the story comes to an end. So English has continued, English will continue. Now in this regard, I would like to refer to a very important poem called Don't Call Me Indo-Anglian by Sayyid Amanuddin. Right? I talked about the politics of nomenclature, Indian English, Indo-English, Indo-British English, Indian writing in English, and so on. So he says, no, I don't want to be a hodgepodge of culture, a confusion of language, a nullity of imagination. He says, the title is Don't Call Me Indo-Anglian, or Indo-English, or Indo-British, and so on. And then a lovely expression, I damn all hyphenated minds, prejudiced offsprings of unenlightened souls. He says, don't give us these labels, don't give us these names. We are poets. And we happen to write in English. Basically, we are poets. Right? English is a medium of expression, and it should never become a kind of a deterrent for us to express ourselves creatively. So he says, I denounce all labels and label makers. And then he says, I refuse to be a moonrock specimen. It's a long poem. I'll take the last part when he says, very interestingly, but I am not an Anglo, my friend. Right? Meaning an English poet, writing, an Indian writing in English. I am not an Anglo, my friend. I am a poet. I have lived 40 centuries under various names. Earlier he refers to Kalidasa, he refers to Kabir, he refers to Ghalib, he refers to all the poets of yore, and then he says, I have lived for 40 centuries under various names. I am now Amanuddin. I am Sayyid Amanuddin now, meaning I am a poet, 40 centuries of poetry, and I am part of that amazing tradition. Now we go to certain ideological issues before I come to the current trends of Indian literature in English, a title that Sahitya Academy gave us. Now one thing, in English, in India, particularly Indian English poetry in India, began with a kind of elitism, right? It referred to a kind of domination, right? It had a power. And what happened in the beginning is not happening now. Indian English poets never had an interface with the other regional poets at that particular time, right? Which was unfortunate. So they thought that writing in English gave them a sense of prestige, gave them a kind of elitist kind of, position. But this was questioned by the regional writers then. Today the situation has completely changed, because regional writers who write in Tamil or Malayalam or Kannada or Bangla also write in English. Right? Sir refers to A.K. Ramanujam, a very important poet in this regard. So one important thing is that we speak about Indian literature in English in three distinctive phases. Pre-independence writers, we call them as poets belonging to the adopt phase. Right? A kind of mimicry without denouncing them. For example, Sarojini Naidu was very happy to be called the Tennyson of India. Right? Today we will not take such labels. You know, people who have studied Renan Martin, there is an example that Kalidasa is a Shakespeare of India. Today we protest against that particular statement. Right? Who decides that Shakespeare is a yardstick of dramatic poetry? Kalidasa is a unique playwright in his own. And very interestingly, the same protest came from Kapil Dev, a cricketer. When in one of the British tabloids, they called him the Ian Botham of India. He wrote to the tabloid and said, if Botham performs well, call him the Kapil Dev of England. So in that particular context, we speak about this idea of the adopt phase, where you attempt to mimic, and not always, but feeling proud, let's say, that you have been recognized by a foreign kind of a power, right? An English poet saying that you write well, right? And I mean, see, it's not that, for example, you say Yeats celebrated Gitanjali, right? Graham Greene celebrated R.K. Narayan, right? They all did it genuinely, no left-handed compliment. They all believed that they were great poets. But generally, the first phase is called the adopt phase. The first generation post-independence poets, that's after 1947, you can call them adapt phase, where there is resistance to be labeled this or that. And the second generation, let's say, or third generation, as we all belong to that, you can call it the adept phase, meaning we write unself-consciously in English without being overburdened by reputations, without being cowed down by the pressures that come from, say, the other poets. Now, going back again to the pre-independence and immediately after independence, again, as Dr. Tirumeni was talking about it, nationalism was very, very important as a means of expressing our displeasure. social revivalism took place at that particular time, and all of us imagined India. All the poets of that particular time, most of them imagined an India, a unified India, right? A kind of India that should decolonize itself, should move away from the British influence and so on. And obviously, they did deal with social issues. They did deal with, revivalism, right? Whether it's Hindu or otherwise. And more often than not, all the poets were Western educated. Sir refers to Derisio, Toru Dutt, Rabindranath Tagore, Michael Madhusudanan Dutt, Sarojini Naidu, and definitely Aurobindo, right? Aurobindo's sonnets are one of the best in English language, right? One of the amazing sonnets that have been written in English language, comparable to those of Shakespeare, will be Aurobindo's sonnets, right? When you read them, you understand the depth, the energy of those sonnets written in English. I mean, he stayed in England for 14 years, but that's what I mean. Staying in England for 14 years doesn't make us a poet. You have to be a poet, and then only you stay in England, and that helps you. So in that particular context, you see that, so these are the poets, right? Tagore obviously celebrated, say, Bengal Vaishnavism, particularly, say, focusing on the Daridina Narayana concept when he wrote his most famous work, Gitanjali, which he himself translated when he was convalescing. Right, one of the best works, no doubt, till today, it's one of the best works because it deals with the ups and downs of spiritual life in all of us. For me, Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali is an amazing graph of reaching a spiritual peak and falling down, reaching it again and falling down, reaching it again and falling down, and it becomes a continual journey. And that's how the poem begins, "Thou hast made me endless, such is thy pleasure." So in that particular context, I'll refer to a poem written by Ezra Pound, called A Pact, because I'm talking about a complete departure from the poets like Derosio, Toru Dutt. Sir refers to Casuarina tree, which could be seen as a typical Indian poet, right? Casuarina tree was modeled after the yew tree poem of Wordsworth. Wordsworth wrote yew tree. She deliberately used Casuarina as an Indian representation of celebrating India through a tree, our Casuarina tree. Or the poem The Lotus, where she underprivileged the lily and rose that have been celebrated by English poets. She said, lotus, you celebrate the lotus and so on. When all that, they have done a wonderful job, no doubt about it. Without tradition, you cannot have individual talent, as Eliot would say. So in that context, pact is important because we are no longer writing like them. And there is no need to, because society is changing, politics is changing, attitudes are changing. So I don't think we need to write like them. Well, what does this pact do? Walt Whitman is the tradition in this poem. I make truce with you, Walt Whitman, he writes. I have detested you long enough. Ezra Pound says, I hate you because you wrote a kind of poetry which is transcendental and so on. We live in troubled times, terrible life, world wars have happened, that we cannot write like you, let's say a passage to India or when lilacs bloomed and so on. All your long poems are gone, and all those celebration of self is gone, because we lived in a time when ourselves are fractured, broken, and so on. So he says, I don't like you, I detest you, but he says, I will have to take energy from you. We have one sap, one root, let there be commerce between us. That's what he says, last two lines of the poem. We have one sap, one root. So whatever the poets are, whoever they are, let's say in English mainly, you cannot ignore them, right? You cannot bypass them. You cannot, let's say, pygmy their, say, a kind of talent. You have to make truce with them, and you have to make a kind of commerce. Now, we talk about the general trends quickly to come to the current trends. In this context, we need to refer to a very, very important poet in Indian English literature, Nizam Ezekiel, a Jew settled in India. Now he is the one who introduced modern sensibility, right? I'm going to refer to only a few poets. Mine is not an exhaustive list. I'm referring to about 6 poets quickly and read a few lines from their poems and then talk about their general intent. Now, Nizam Ezekiel is important because he introduced this modern sensibility. He avoided the romanticism of his, previous generation poets. He obviously moved away from the idea of celebrating nationalism. And what happened was he looked at society as he lived, and as again Dr. Kannan spoke about lived realities, no romanticizing, experience life and express them. Right? As Virginia Woolf said, look within life, energize yourself by looking within. So one important thing is that Nizam Ezekiel did was to give authenticity to Indian English. Now, Raja Rao already said we cannot write like the British, we should not, but we should also say write like a transnational poet. And quite interestingly, there are two labels that teachers of literature say get to know. One was a term used by Rushdie or associated with Rushdie. He called it chutneyfying English. Right? Chutneyfying English. And quite interesting that by chutneyfying, what he meant was make it Indian. Make it sound Indian. Make it appear Indian. Right? And quite interestingly, Aga Shagid Ali went a step further. Maybe he thought that chutney was a side dish. So he said, let us biryaniize English. Right? Let us biryaniize English, by which he meant make it thoroughly Indian. Right? Make it thoroughly Indian. And this is in fiction. This is in fiction. But it was poets, particularly Nizam Ezekiel, who gave Indian English a legitimate poetic voice. So he is extremely important. And he was the one who started focusing on the urban, contemporary Indian life. And as again Dr. Kannan was speaking about AI, how to use AI, he focused on craftsmanship. Now as students of literature, we only look for an amazing structure in a poem. Right? Young poets, we're extremely proud, let's say, to be among poets. So I may speak about poetry, and it's an unfortunate, sad fact that I cannot write poetry. I attempted writing poetry, it looked like very, say, kind of irreducible couplets, really. So writing poetry is an amazing experience, an amazing exercise, right? It makes you live more meaningfully than critics like us who appreciate poetry, who, say, interpret poetry and so on. So in that particular context, he was a teacher, a mentor, an editor. He wrote in I think my generation will know a magazine called Illustrated Weekly. It was in Illustrated Weekly that Nizam Ezekiel published his poems. He invited poems to be published in Illustrated Weekly. Now I go to the first generation of, I divide post-independence Indian literature in English as two generations of writer. 1950s to 1990s, that will be one phase. And 1990s to the current time. Right? 1990s to the current time. Now, themes differed completely, techniques differed completely. That idealistic nationalism that you saw in Toru Dutt or Tagore or Michael Madhusudan Dutt is not there. Right? What you see very interestingly is an engagement with the problems that we have in our own contemporary society. Right? Now, don't forget, we needed to eulogize India. We needed to praise India because we needed to praise India because we were still under the British rule, or we have just come out of the British rule. Nationalism was extremely important in the beginning. But today, let's say, we need to problematize those things because we are looking for issues to be dealt with, and it's an extremely diverse nation today. The fact again, CPC has obviously branched out, goes to prove that identity in itself has become very fluid, right? Like Sujata Bhatt, a great poet, an Indian writer in English, says, I can hold multiple nations in my consciousness. She lives in Germany, she writes in English, she can write in German. Uma Parameshwaran, who lives in Canada, writes in English, writes about India, writes about Canada. So today we live in a time when our consciousness can hold many cultures within itself, that we need to look at urban life and its discontents. And there is an identity crisis because nationalism itself was problematized. This question, important question, whose nation is it? Right? Who claims this nation to be his or her own? So this man is a Jew, for example. Nizam Ezekiel is a Jew who settled in Bombay. Jayanta Mahapatra is a Christian from Orissa, right? So and Ramanujam and Parthasarathi belong to Karnataka and Tamil Nadu respectively. So they come from diverse regions, from diverse religious denominations, and it is poetry which unifies. The amazing diversity that we have in the world, say in the name of religion or other dispensations, can only be brought to unity by poetry. Poetry is an amazing way by which we can really experience that bedrock of Indian culture or Indian civilization, unity in diversity. Instead of making it as a meaningless statement, poetry celebrates unity in diversity. They are all Indian poets, and we celebrate their poetry at any point in time. And in this regard, we need to speak about the women poets. Again, Dr. Tirumeni referred to 3 poets, Kamala Das in particular. Right, in a poem called An Introduction, she makes a very important statement. He says, "Oh, shut up and allow me to write in English." Right, she openly said, that's how she writes. She is a very daring kind of a poet, let's say, that she says, "Oh, shut up and allow me to write in English," when he introduces herself. Eunice D'Souza, Charmaine D'Souza, they're all precursors. Right, and I think Dr. Tirumeni mentioned that, say, women poets outnumber men poets. It's a great thing, but these are the precursors. Sarojini Naidu is there, Torudat is there, they are the tradition, no doubt about it. But these people, particularly the confessional mode that Eunice D'Souza took or Kamala Das took, becomes extremely important. And when they wrote, as I told you, she says, "Allow me to write in English. Whether I write hodgepodge English or that English, that's not your problem. It comes to me naturally." She says it can be half Malayalam, half English, but it is my own. It's my own language, she claims in that particular poem. So in that context, so they dealt with realism, they dealt with a kind of rational experience in that particular context. Now, influences have always been there, I told you. Say the Romantics influence beginnings of Indian writing in English, or Indian literature in English. The Victorians influenced the Indian writers in English. But today, particularly the beginners, I'm talking about the post-independent poets, 2 poets inspired them. One is Auden, W.H. Auden, and other one is Ezra Pound. So 2 very important points, and Hart Crane from America. Right? These 2 from Britain and Hart Crane from America. And I would like to read a very important quote from Bruce King on his book on Indian literature in English. He says, about Nizam Ezekiel, he brings into play a modern philosophical position. I'm talking about as an idea of being interconnected. Now, 2 voices that I mentioned. One is Arun Kolatkar, right? And I met a friend from Kolkata. He is a bilingual poet. I met somebody who is a trilingual poet. Now, these are amazing exercises, right? These are amazing exercises. We should celebrate A.K. Ramanujam, right? And Parthasarathi. Say, Ramanujam is important. I'm very happy that Dr. Tirumeni mentioned him. Right? He lived in Chicago, he taught in Chicago. Right? He knew Tamil literature very well, he knew Kannada literature very well. He translated Kannada literature into English. He translated English literature into Kannada. You use the amazing work is Interior Landscape. Right? Interior Landscape, one of the finest definitions of Agam poetry. Right, that interiority that is celebrated by Agam poetry, right, the interior landscape, and he gives an amazing afterword, right, which in itself can be taught. We have taught it, let's say, I think Dr. Sridevi also would have taught it. We have taught that afterword because it's such an exercise in knowing what the Agam tradition is. So these are the poets that should inspire us. Never give up on your literature. Write as much as possible in your own mother tongue. If it's natural to you, no problem at all. Writing in English is no problem at all. Again, I go with Dr. Tirumeni, English is part of us. And I go with R.K. Narayan, who said, English language has become a handmaiden of Goddess Saraswati if you associate with her with creativity in a particular tradition. So in that context, Kolatkar is a bilingual poet. Aga Shagid Ali, I mentioned about Biryanization of English, is a Kashmiri American poet. He wrote an amazing poem called A Postcard from Kashmir, right, where Kashmir, now it's a bit different, but earlier it was full of problems. Let's say that he writes that Kashmir has now shrunk into a postcard and so on. Now, the second generation poets about whom I will speak in some detail, the general trends are, let's say, they are not at all apologetic about writing in English. Very interestingly, we met a fiction writer, say in Stella Maris College, a woman writer. long time ago, obviously, about 15, 20 years ago, Sashi Deshpande. And she said that, say, when a novel is, say, inaugurated, published, or say the first copy is got, like today what we did, men came to her and said, you write extremely well. Right? That's a compliment. But that man had the audacity to say, you almost write like a man. Right? You almost write like a man. Sashi Deshpande said that in Stella Maris. Now, you see, that becomes a yardstick. Right? That's why feminism came into existence, feminist writings came into existence. Virginia Woolf, let's say, first said, look within life. Right? Men are women, it does not matter. You look within, literature happens. Literature gets expressed. So one is, we are not at all apologetic anymore. Whether you're a man or a woman, it does not matter. Choice of language is not a critical issue now. It used to be. Right? It used to be. Many poets were asked this question, can you write in English? Now, he mentioned, say, Silvertongue Srinivas Sastry correcting Churchill's English and Gandhi's English. But that's prose. When we wrote poetry, we were not accepted. Poetry, he says, that's not your cup of tea. Writing English poetry is still not your cup of tea was a time. Today it's gone. Even post-independence it was gone. Nizam Ezekiel made it go, as it were. When he made Indian English an authentic voice, authentic mode of expression. And then today we are very cosmopolitan. Right? We are almost losing, very rarely we get pastoral poems celebrating village life. I mean, there are no villages really, unfortunately. Let's say everything is a town now. Real village, we need to go somewhere deep in south or north, let's say. Anyway, the pastoral setting, all those things are slowly going away. It is more cosmopolitan. And we deal with this problem of alienation, a sense of not belonging and so on. And what happens is, today I'm going to deal with certain poets. I'll mention them and then read a few lines from their poetry and quickly talk about their contribution to present day Indian writing in English. Like I told you in the beginning, it's not an exhaustive list. I've just made a few selections. So this is a very important point. Today we write hybrid poetry. We write cross-cultural poetry. We write multicultural poetry. And we all belong to a multilingual environment. And this is the greatness of Indian literature in English today. Right? You can write, I mean, Tagore wrote in, say, Bangla, and then luckily he translated his own Gitanjali. So you don't have a problem of translation. He cannot complain, at least, that it was badly translated. Right? So in that particular context, you see that things have changed. So I'm just list these poets and then go to their poems and wind up. Anjum Hazan, she's from Meghalaya, who lives in Bangalore. Arundhati Subramaniam, I'll just list them and go to their poems. Right, who lives in India, lives in Chennai, poet, she reads on spirituality. Rukmani Baya Nair, a very important poet, she's a linguist, a poet, a critic, right, an IITian. Ayodhya Cantos is a very important poem that she has written, a collection of poems that she has written. Ranjit Hoskote, right, important poet, right. Temsula Avom, let's say, who is a ethnographer, right, she comes from the Naga community. These are names very important for us. Vivek Narayan, who was born in Chennai, but he grew up in Zambia. Tishana Doshi, very important poet, because she's a dancer. She's an amazing dancer. She's a journalist. She interviewed Ratan Tiyam when he made his Indianized version of Macbeth. Now, as a dancer, she's important. I'll refer to that later. Jeet Tayil, very important poet. And then Nabina Das, who obviously hails from Assam, Guwahati. Right? Meena Kandasamy, a Dalit poet, an excellent Dalit poet who questions, say, caste hierarchies. And Robin Gagnon, let's say, who again comes from Northeast. So these are the poets that I am going to talk about as people representing the current trends in Indian literature in English. Right? As I told you, they are not the all, but they are important to us because this is what they are doing for Indian poetry today. Now, Anjum Hazan, right, very interestingly, she deals with urban alienation. And I told you we suffer from, particularly young poets who deal with this idea of being dislocated. And due to certain erosion of values and certain codes, Many poets suffer from a kind of inner emptiness, an inner barrenness which they express. And Anjum Azan actually deals with everyday life. Now we normally celebrate William Wordsworth for looking at the beauty or looking for beauty in commonplace things. For him, every commonplace matter was important. Lucy, a very important girl, ordinary girl, but he celebrated her. Right? He celebrated her in a poem called She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways. So in that context, you see that everyday life for Anjum becomes a site for philosophical speculation, right? And obviously she deals with a kind of metropolitan sensibility. I'll just read a few extracts. First is called This Biography. My heart beat fast or did not beat at all. I could not say all that I thought and thought till words deserted me. Now we have a phenomenon called meta-poetry, poems meditating upon themselves, right? A poem about poetry, right? Poems about poetry can be called meta-poems. Many of these poets actually reflect on the process of writing poetry, right? How does poetry come to them or don't come to them? This poem is a great example. My heart beat fast and did not beat at all. I could not say all that I thought and thought. Now I think Dr. Kannan spoke about silence, right? Now you may maybe feel jealous that A gives a poem in a few seconds. But if poems, as he argued very well, if poems come to you in seconds, I mean without meditation, without reflection, without that struggle, as you use the term struggle, I think it will be useless poetry. Now she makes an important statement. I thought and thought, words deserted me. Right? It is a tussle with words, it's a battle with words that all poets have suffered from. And in modern conditions, when situations are complex, language doesn't come in handy at all, is what she says in this particular poem. Now in another poem called A Place Like Water, all through the day it stays, the sadness of coming into a wet city at dawn, not speaking neither of us, when one by one the neon lights wake up from a cramped, dim-ravaged sleep. That's simple again. The title is A Place Like Water, meaning watery, slushy. That's what she means. And you know that famous expression Eliot used, objective correlative. Something outside becomes an indicator of what is experienced inside. So that's what The Place Like Water deals with. And then small town, because I talked about urban problems, urban alienation. Small town, the man who runs a sports goods store that also sells old unopened books and board games in faded boxes, sits with his tattooed arms folded in the sun. This is the kind of description that you have. When a man is killed in the afternoon, knifed and left to die with his face down in a drain, the tattooed fellow has an opinion, but he shuts the door and sleeps on a wooden plank. Right? Now she's talking about a brutal murder that happens quite close to you. You look at it, you have an opinion about it, but you cannot voice it. Right? You cannot voice it for two reasons. Not that you're indifferent, you experience that pain, but either your voice is not heard, or your voice does not matter, or you are scared. You are scared to express your opinion. The title is Small, say, Town. Let's say that's what the whole, I mean, there are many poems like this, but we are talking about this idea of modern dislocation, this inner emptiness. And you have a lovely poem. I mentioned Auden. He wrote a poem called Unknown Citizen. Now he said we are all unknown citizens because we have an identity, but that identity is more, say, more in tune with what the establishment wants you to have. Now Arundhati Subramaniam deals with spiritual seeking and skepticism held together. One of her finest writings will be her biography of Jaggi Vasudev, right? Sadguru as he is called, right? Excellent writing, right? Excellent writing, wonderful kind of expression that you have. And like any woman poet, she deliberates a female selfhood, right? Women matter, obviously. And for us as young poets, You should look at Arundhati Subramaniam for reimagining Bhakti. Right? Bhakti movement of Bengal, Bhakti movement we have. I mean, Tamil Nadu is so famous for its Bhakti movements, particularly the Nayanmars and Alvars. Right? Now, she reimagines the Bhakti movement, and what she does is she focuses on mysticism. Right? For her, maybe religion goes to the background and mysticism comes to the foreground, because she engages herself with saints and yogis and mystics. And her ultimate purpose in writing poetry is to look for meaning in a fractured world. Right? That is the main idea. I'll just read a few lines again, like I did for Anjum. Prayer poem, she calls it. Many things taste the way they are in the simplest you know. May the shuttered window keep the air as cool as bottled jasmine, keeping the fragrance. May you never forget to listen to the crumpled whisper of sheets that mold themselves to your sleeping form. Now, obviously, she's looking for sustenance from poetry, sustenance from writing, right? And the prayer is, beginning is important. May the things stay as they are. Normally, we want things to change and change for the better. We want things to change for the better. But she says, things are fine. If they are going to be like this, then it's fine. But may the things stay as they are in the simplest place we know. Right? This is one important poem. And then she concludes by saying, may the murmur of the wall clock continue to decree that your providence run 10 minutes slow. Meaning you have time and time, limited time. Let us explore. As a mystic herself, her job is to find meaning through existence, in existence, by living. And the second poem I will quickly read will be a very interesting poem about women. 546 Andheri local. Right? 546 train, Andheri local. In the woman's compartment of a Bombay local, we seek no personal epiphanies. Epiphany, you know, is an amazing, say, a religious word from Christianity. Epiphany is one non-verbal flash of understanding. Right? One epiphanic moment is you come to have an amazing vision of things. Right? Like metal licked by relentless acetone, we are welded with the dreams, disasters, germs, destinies, flesh, orders, ovaries, a 1,000-limbed, million-tongued, multi-spoused Kali on wheels. So we are, in that sense, like Kali. We have that energy as a feminine power, feminine source, but unfortunately, we have no personal epiphanies at all. So this is a poem that celebrates the potential of Shakti, potential of women, but at the same time, situations don't come to them, like elegy written in a country churchyard, that they are not able to realize their full potential. And then she writes a poem called Home. Give me a home that isn't mine, where I can slip in and out of rooms without a trace. I don't want to belong to any place that has given me an identity. I would like to live an identity life. I would like to live a kind of life without labels, without hyphens, as we saw in that particular poem. Now we go to Rukmani Baya Nair. I told you that she's a linguist, and she politicizes, naturally politicizes poetry. She speaks about representation and identity. And for her, as I think Dr. Kannan used the word voice, for her the voice matters, the poetic structure matters. Now she is one important poet. Today, many writers are theory aware. We use that expression, theory aware. All critical theories they are aware of, and their poetry comes out of their knowledge of theory. Right? Knowledge of theory, not that, I'm not talking their poetry is facile. I'm not saying the poetry is ordinary, but they are so theory aware that it takes the shape of poetry. Right? It takes the shape of poetry. Right? And obviously, she is one very important poet. Right? Please read her. She is available in all the anthologies. She bridges academic discourse and poetic imagination. What we teach in colleges as theory and what she writes as poetry actually get together, because she is able to fuse them together through her imagination. Now I'll just deal with one extract which celebrates womanhood, like say 546 Andheri local. Margins, mainstream, right? She puts I in the bracket, right? I in the bracket. Margins, comma, mainstream. right? Main, he puts I in the bracket. A woman is a thing apart. She is bracketed off, a comma, a semicolon, at most a lowercase letter. Right? At most a lowercase letter. Right? And then she wants, concluding paragraph, stanza, she badly wants not a fresh lover, strong man or clown, but a new language in which to hold her own. Very important poem in the sense, for women, particularly who suffer from patriarchy, who suffer from oppression and all that, poetry is the greatest emotional succor. Poetry is a great sustaining force, according to her, in this particular poem. She badly wants a new language. Language always gets energized. Language always becomes new, right? Otherwise, there is no greatness in poetry at all. Right? We have a Sanskrit idea called Ramaniyata. Right? You know that famous line from Keats, a thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases, it never passes into nothingness. Ever newness is what makes the language of poetry powerful. We will listen to their poems and then you will understand this is definitely not any of the language that we are familiar with regard to poetry. Language has to be new. That's precisely what she wants to celebrate. Ranjit Oscote, cosmopolitan, imaginative, very cross-cultural, right? And very interestingly, he engages with mythology. He engages with ruins, many places like Hampi and others, right? He is interested in archives, cultural archives and memory, very meditative, and he had translated a Kashmiri woman mystic called Lal Ded. Very interesting collection of poems, amazing poet she is, right? That's why that's my interest in gender and spirituality, right? Terigata from a Buddhist tradition, Lal Ded from say Indian tradition, and Audayakka from our own southern part who wrote a lot of mystical poems. Now, he celebrates this and very interestingly, he makes this important statement. Honor the translator. Right? To name a sea is the title of the poem. Translators are important. Sahitya Academy has done a great job by translating poems into English. We normally say, or it is said, let's say, poetry is what is lost in translation. But without translation, we will never be able to know the poetry even written in India. I will not know a Malayalam poem, I will not know a Bangla poem, I will not know, say, a Kannada poem if it is not translated. He celebrates translators. Honor the translator, survivor of cadence, struck by a lightning, he lives to tell a tale. Now, I told you that he is cross-cultural, and young poets who are here, you should definitely read great translations. Translations are amazing in the sense that you understand in India, I mean, right? Katha is an organization, you have a lot of stories that are written in India, translated into English. So, Ranjit Oscote is telling us, learn, read, mainly translations at that particular point, right? Rudderless no mast, he steers the boat of tomorrow. Right? Without that ship metaphor, he says without translation you will not know, and using translation you will definitely come to know. And then he writes very interestingly to the Sanskrit poets, right? Leave something behind, he writes. A trace of cloud on a plate, a pair of white birds shot by a hunter. Very interesting, let's say. He's saying, not that, you take it literally. He's telling the Sanskrit poets, give us some material, leave us some material to write on. Right? Leave us some material to write on, right? That we will also express ourselves mystically in a very religious way and so on. Then we go to Temsula Avu, right? This is a very upcoming poetry in Indian writing, Indian literature in English, indigenous poetry. It's a celebration of indigeneity because indigenous poets, right? You call them Adivasis, you call them tribals, right? They suffer from three things. They suffer from what is called ecocide, meaning their natural habitats are getting destroyed. They suffer from ethnocide, when their ethnicities are getting destroyed. And most importantly, they suffer from what is called phonocide, the death of their languages. Right? The death of their languages. So, being plagued by these ecocide, ethnocide and phonocide, poets like Temsula deals with tribal memory. She privileges oral traditions she brings their folk tales to the fore. And we have a term in eco-literature called topophilia. You love your landscape. You fall in love, genuinely fall in love with landscape. So topophilia is what she celebrates, but at the same time, she deals with the violence. The violence meted out to the indigenous population is what she deals with. Just two expressions. Strange place is a poem about her place. This world is a strange place where people are exiled in their own lands. Right? People are exiled in their own lands and imprisoned in their own minds. Typical indigenous voice. Right? A typical indigenous voice. And then she says, referring to her indigenous space, this is a place where armaments have become national policies. Right? This is a place that armaments have become national policies. And one more short poem, My Hills. The title is My Hills. The sounds and sights have altered my hills, meaning that they don't have any sense of belonging. The next poet is Vivek Narayan, right? He engages deeply with history.
PC long time back. Therefore, persons go up from this forum as well. Thank you.
So thank you for that insightful, informative and wonderful talk, sir. I'm sure there's much to take home for all these young poets and for the rest of us. Dr. Tirumeni will honor his dear friend Ratnakar Bhelkar, who's, I think you're friends for 30 years or so, or even more, 3 decades of friendship. And he's been a long time contributor to the Chennai Poets Circle. Request Dr. Kannan, please, Anga, come to the center. Avanga da paralla neenga pannunga. Sir, you please. Yes. May I request Ravi Ranganathan sir to honor Padmavati Setaluri from Telangana.
Padmaja, please go. I've announced, yes. No, sir. Dr. Padmaja Iyengar Paddy, see, our chief guest spoke about translation studies and all that. She's a veteran. She's done an anthology which has gone down in history in the Limca Book of Records for 5 times. I'll speak more about her later. I think all of us can stand there for the group photograph also. Please don't go, be there for the group photograph. Molly ma'am, please be here for the group photograph. Who's next? Please come here. I have to. Dr. Stephen Deepak from Bengaluru. May I request Dr. Kannan to honor him? Dr. Devdut Mukherjee, may I request the chief guest to honor him? Dr. Stephen Deepak, Dr. Kannan will honor. And chief guest will honor, Dr. Ganesh will honor Dr. Devdut Mukherjee. See, that's why I choose. I'm smart, you see.
I just said the photos
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Chief Guest will honor him. Sir, you front la ninnu appo picture la irpom ellarum. Please stay here for the group photograph. Go. Gitanjali, just come here, no? So that I go. Yes. I request Ravi Ranganathan sir to honor Anju Kishore. I request Dr. Kannan to honor Gitanjali Dilip. And Rema Prasanna, I will come and honor you. Yes, 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 please go. Chief guest will honor him. Sorry, no problem. Okay, I will honor you last. Okay, I will honor you. Because I need to. Yes. Ravi Ranganathan sir will honor Anju Kishore. She is another veteran poet from Bengaluru. She was in Chennai, but she shifted to Bengaluru a year ago. Gitanjali, yes. Dr. Kannan will honor Gitanjali Dilip. And please stand for the...
You honor one person, no?
I'm honoring. Rema Prasanna from Bengaluru will be honored by Hema Ravi.
Ma'am, everybody please come forward.
Their historical events and also poetical events I have covered. Anybody wants to have that book, it can be taken there. It is at 50% discount, and even that discount also, that 100 rupees or whatever I get it will go to the CPC also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. So please take cognizance of that, and please get the book if you require. So before we begin the book release function, I'd like you all to get a few lines about Dr. Ratnakar Bhelkar. So he is a poet. So please come onto the stage so you may sit here. Dr. Ratnakar Bhelkar is a poet, short story writer, prose lyricist, critic, translator and editor. He is a former professor of English, Dhanvante National College, Nagpur. recipient of PhD in Science Fiction, D.Lit in Translation Studies by the submission of the treatise on Gram Gita poetry. You may sit here, sir. Gram Gita poetry to Rashtrakan Tukadoji Maharaj, Nagpur University, Maharashtra. He's authored science fiction, fantasy and reality, criticism, Indian literature, published texts, Indianness and beyond, Gram Gita, contextualizing Tukadoji's Gram Gita, trajectories of tradition and reality by Atlantic publishers and distributors. So he is a well-known poet. He is a very good friend of Dr. Tirumeni for the last 30 years. So poetry connects across geographical borders, as our chief guest said. So hearty welcome, sir. I request Dr. Ratnakar to take over, and Dr. Tirumeni will also take over. Yes. I don't know who's going to speak first. Okay, both of you. Yes, please take over.
It is not enough okay. It is not enough that we write poems for our own glory and for your own satisfaction. In other parts of the world, there are poets, writers, unknown to the world. It's our duty to bring them to the platform and to make them known and popular. We have to value their contributions to Indian writing in English. Dr. Ratnakar is known to me for a long time. He is a native of Nagpur. Many a time whenever I travel to Delhi, I will have a stopover in his house. I enjoyed his friendship, hospitality and scholarship. He is a bilingual writer. He has published 2 or 3 books. This is the one which needs to be released, In a Case and Beyond. Ratna writes in a fantastic way, not in an ordinary way. He has got his own way of conveying things. I have read the poems, 1 or 2 poems I have to mention to show his intelligence and creativity. Many of us do not know about the freedom struggle. Very often we understand freedom struggle with the Congress party. It is not like that. South Indians have contributed who do not have a place in Indian history, in modern Indian history. For example, Velu Nachiyar, Pulitevan and our Velur Mutiny do not find a place in the Indian freedom struggle. Similarly, when we speak about the struggles against the British, it is not from the Congress party alone. Even before that, some of the leaders of the tribals have fought against the English people when they were trying to take over the land.
Polyphonic in the multidimensional and multifaceted. To be precise and concrete, I will read, In a Cage and Beyond, there are experiments in form and content, and besides formalistic modulation, this poetry has visual graphics. It's a poetry painting of words. Anthology explores the theme of scientific thinking. Ganesh sir has talked about the AI and dominance and resistance, post-colonialism, and search for deeper meaning, essence. Poem reflects disillusionment as well as longing for truth, freedom and space. This is important. Dr. Ganesh has referred earlier, and we are the very serious readers and the responsible authors. From the perspectives of human existence and cosmos, poems capture alienation and fragmentation that define postmodernism. But only fragmentations, cleavages are not important. And the post-colonial, this poetry has also captured the post-colonial values as freedom, equality and justice. Though poet feels entrapped in cage in cocoon, but he has the inner will to soar high in the sky for freedom and liberation. Kudos to all, with the best wishes for the days to come. Grateful, Nandari. And I close my verdict, my assertion, with the Stanley Kubrick words. It is
So please relax and revel in the poetry rending moments. And as per standard practice, the names will be called in the alphabetical order. Young poets will also be called in between. A brief bio note will be read. You may go through the detailed bio note later. So poets are requested to come and render the poems. Other discussions can be had offline during the lunch hour. So in case there are two poems, we request you to read one of your poems. This is to maintain a strict cognizance of time. So thank you for your cooperation. Our first poet this morning is Akshaya Nishant. Has she come or isn't she here? I didn't see her. Okay. V. Anand Kumar. He is a resident of Chennai.
That is found in page number 10 in the anthology. That is about love. Love from a mother is pure and supreme. On the earth, love always triumphs. Victoriously, it comes out often, everlasting in this world as long as life exists. Love never succumbs but stands strong. Obviously, love proves to be right and often wins. Virtuous attitude that everyone must possess. Eventually, love is found in every living being. Love teaches steadfastness, tolerance, and fortitude. Occasionally, love sheds tears when there is betrayal. Vigorously, it comes out of setbacks. Eagerly, it makes one wait for the other. Love is compassion, affection, adulation, and more. Often, it takes different forms to prove its might. Veneration is what we pay to love because it is God. Everyone, love should be spread for a peaceful life. Let us spread love and affection for peaceful life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Falls. The leaves drift down in amber light, carrying me back to autumn nights. The day I knew whisper in my ear, put on your sweater, October's here. Stepping into fall, the path feels long, but it reminded me of where I used to belong. The earth was covered in crimson hues, with acorns scattered, all nature's clues. Autumn holds what time won't keep, a kind of feeling, reflective and deep, yet in its colors, warm and true. I find the past still echoing true.
Thank you, and please collect your certificate from the volunteers after you finish reading. Our next poet is Ms. Anju Kishore, author of 2 poetry collections. She calls herself a window wanderer.
The sun wheels itself well here, murmuring to the early riser's silhouette. Here, it contemplates on what accumulates over days, rust, dust, and must that could immobilize the best thought frames. From here, a poem, one of very many, has slithered down the path, lining it with allegorical crotons, multi-hued, many-layered, leading up to the climactic gazebo, atumble with Chinese honeysuckle. From here, the spent slaty sky is divided metallically into strips, to be given away to the night, the daily extortionist, who is compassionate in a way, for he leaves behind some star crumbs to soothe the fingers that have closed around the cold grill and the cheek that feels the iron chill. Here is the wanderer's ledge, the seeker's springboard. From here, the mind has set out on quests unknown and has returned, pulling in the latch to shut the window and turn towards the world from here. Thank you very much.
The lake beneath. You asked me once, am I too cruel? I said no, love, just fate's old rule. But truth like that can twist and turn, and hearts can freeze, yet they burn. Life is cruel. You asked me why. I smiled and dropped a stone nearby. It sank into the lake so wide, like how my heart broke deep inside. I wasn't harsh, I wasn't cold, but stories end that go untold. You begged me once to walk away, yet never said I had to stay. You sat beneath the weeping sky, beside the lake you closed your eyes. Tears fell like falling rain, and whispers word spilled out in pain. Move on, Mindy, it's time to part. That final phrase broke my heart. I said no, and gripped a stone to fight the thoughts that chilled my bones. But in that hush, you slipped below with a heavy heart and weight in tow. I turned too late, you disappeared. My soul was crushed, consumed by fear. I stood in silence, fate turned black. No way to breathe, no turning back. I gasped, I slipped, the edge gave way. Thank you.
Silence, just my soundless being. Just my heartbeat, just the love it holds for you. Loneliness, it's me, it's my heart, and in my heart, you. Alone, but together. Distance, whispers disappear. Pain dissipates to become weak enough, even pleasing. Wind, soft, caressing, a tactile messenger for the distant, painless love. Dreams, a sanctuary for imagination, a life lived within to the fullest and forever. That's drifting love, my friends.
I call Mr. Asim Kumar Paul. He is the author of 6 poetry books and 6 chapbooks.
The ocean. On the sea, on the seashore of the Kanyakumari, I stand as a person and look towards the blue horizon, dreaming and breathing in the magical cover of the ocean. In great vastness and dancing waves, I feel I am like a human petal in the line of thoughts of Swami Vivekananda and of Tamil poet Thiruvalluvar, with memories pressed in them in the architectural marvels. Whenever my mind was under pain and viewing those memorabilia and kinetic energy of wave of water, I feel none of indecent wings can crush my vigor, and my journey will get golden wheel to move like butterfly until the tune is cut off. The blue that dwells in color of ocean is the continuum of nature's refreshness,
With huge water vapor hovering over, I found me in a peace while worship standing in front Goddess Kanyakumari, and for a moment I forget words like pain, peril, cease and death. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful poem, sir. Diya Jagdish, her poem is on page 134. She's
a lake, a water lily lake, a pond of crystal clear water, a perfect stop for cake among nature's green daughters. The beautiful bridge across the pond, in front of a forest, behind the painter's eyes, lies the water lily lake, surrounded by beauty, and beauty does it make. The smell of pollen sweet, the sound of gushing water, whispering our names, rippling with delight, and moving as a habit, reflects the sun bright, helps the thirsty rabbit. Walking across the bridge, careful not to fall, reach the other end and see trees tall. Forever did the lake exist, and forevermore, leading people across the bridge to the forest floor. Thank you.
Thank you to CPC for having me. This is my first time in Chennai. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. One short poem, The Abandoned One. The day comes to a close. Birds call back their nests. Dry winds of autumn prepare to rest. The slow traffic of my city clamors. The crows utter their last chatter, talking of the day's solitude. Evenings come in, go out. Evenings of white flowers. I remember a nest, a bird's nest. I remember the first flight. Up above the horizons, the abandoned one takes its last flight. Thank you so much. Thank you.
2019, with a passion for literature inculcated by his amazing teachers in MCC, he taught 3 generations of students. His doctoral research was on metadrama in both Sanskrit Nataka and Shakespeare. He became the head of the Department of English in 2014 and had the proud privilege of serving the department in the capacity for 5 years. After his retirement, he works as visiting faculty in the Department of English, University of Madras. His research interests and his contributions include theatres of the world, film studies and star studies, literature, ecology and development, culture studies, English studies in India and India studies, Shakespeare in diverse contexts, travel writing and post-colonialism, gender and spirituality, and so on and so forth. Welcome, sir.
May I now request Dr. Tirumeni, our chairman, to honor the chief guest, Dr.
Well, please talk and finish with Japanese poetry. Yasunari Kawabata, the great Japanese writer who won the Nobel Prize, when he was giving the Nobel Prize, Nobel address, he was talking about one of his contemporaries or one of the people who are poets as well as novelists. He was talking about Ikaragawa. Ikaragawa was a monk and he was in a monastery. It was night, a peaceful night, and then he was talking. He came out of the monastery. He saw full moon on the sky. That triggered poetic thought in his mind. He said, the first line of the poem was, beautiful night, exact, beautiful moon. Then he had to write the second line in the poem, in his mind, he said again, beautiful night, beautiful moon again. Even with this happening, with 2 lines, absolutely he was not finding it adequate. And he repeated beautiful night and beautiful moon, 2 more lines. So the whole poem was an evocative expression of what a beautiful morning and what a beautiful night and a beautiful moon are doing in his mind. So there is a evocative poem. That poem, my mentor and my friend, Mr. Sujata, is no more now. One of the best writers in India. He told me it's always great to write or appreciate an evocative poem. It doesn't mean that evocative poem is all and everything, but it is a grade more than what it is about other types of poems. I didn't find it interesting, but.
Sir, are you going to read your poem also?
No, I'm going to be. 2 more minutes, I will just speak, please.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. So it is about evocative poem, and we all know about the great, all poets are great, the great poet Arun Kolatkar. How many of us know that in 1950s, for a year or so, Arun Kolatkar was Chennai based, and he was not writing poetry, he was painting the terracotta cups and everything and selling it at the platform, maybe at Panagal Park, I don't know. But Arun Kolatkar selling terracotta and in Chennai Park, it's something, it evokes a kind of not pity, not empathy, not sympathy, something not okay in the order. So that is about Arun Kolatkar's poem, giving us the sense of something not okay. And then only one more. For a year or so, I was a resident of London. Every morning I used to commute in the tube. There is the train, underground train, from Earl's Court to Hammersmith. When I travelled, I found out that in some of the coaches, or most of the coaches rather, small boats were all on the
bitumen like lava oozing out in a trickle from conical beakers. They pour the asphalt and lay the road, the ugly road, the narrow road, meandering through the tank bund, engulfing a dry pond. The tank bed parched and cracked all through the year. And they go on throughout the year wearing a pair of makeshift shoes of rags, yellow and red and black, torn from the bright clothes the dead men wore and left beside, being carried across the tank pond road along the lifeless street, the stinking street with the stench of death. And they go on all through the year, running across the stinking street, hungry and thirsty with last night's stale rice and a dried chili with salt carried to work, waiting warm near the tar mixer spewing fire, running across the hot street, the empty street no one walks on. They sit for lunch, flavored with bitumen, with rag shoes on legs, still intact as work is calling. Doors are shut from within, Tea time sneaks in and cookie jars reluctantly open, waiting for milk to boil, raising a cookie to the mouth. Those wearing bright red and yellow and black with legs outstretched on the floor, the marble tiled floor, always cool, always clean. Beyond their doors, someone runs up and then down with ragged shoes, pouring molten tar while the giant roller levels everything, humming in half sleep. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Thank you for that wonderful poem. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Our next poet, young poet.
Poem on dragons. This poem shows that we don't need any dragon or any imagination to guide us, but only our strength and bravery. Dragons fly in the sky, through the clouds, who knows what they'll find. Dragons fly high and low, and watching them from above is quite a show. Dragons glow even at night, and make the darkness feel so bright. From this we know that they are truly a sight to behold, a tale of kindness to be told. Dragons are gentle, the dragons are grand. They will not mind if you ask a hand, for they will guide you to caves where crystals are grand, and stand by you and will never leave your side. Dragons forever fly in our hearts, for belief gives them their sacred part. So let's believe and let's imagine, for life is the greatest show. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. My poem is titled Inescapable Paradox. Aren't we all hypocrites of time? We claim to fill each second, yet feel so poor. A silent pact, a truth we can't erase. Do more, faster, our restless spirits cry, while slow living whispers to just exist. In the stark, ironic gaze, we chase moments lost in frantic haze. Never truly living, never truly keen. Driven by busyness, caught in a constant race, our minds overloaded with information, leaving no room for spontaneity. A hollowness takes root where thought should be. Moments of quiet contemplation lost to tides of distraction. We pretend there's peace we'll never find. With a hurried heart, a quiet dream. We live in neither, just the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Geeta.
Hello, poets. Pongal is really being celebrated here for me, an extended Pongal celebration with an overflowing of beautiful poetry. Thank you so much. I thank God for this opportunity, and also that it's a wonderful silver jubilee and may it go on to many, many more eons, I would say. Thank you so much. I'm going ahead reading my poem. I apologize ahead of time for it being rhetorical. This poem is an appeal, it is a plea, it is literally, I am here with a begging bowl that all wars come to an end in this world. This is mainly about the children of Gaza. When I wrote it, I was witnessing something very, very disturbing. I was in the United States, and I wrote it then, and I thought, I have to share it with people who will understand that wars are totally wasteful. This is what I want to convey in this poem. It's called Begging Bowl. It's not Halloween, at least not yet. Do you want to make a mock scare of eyes bleeding tears? Try it once in a while. As you watch the blood moon, how about imagining walking cadavers, as in the walking dead, alone in the dead of night? Is that scary enough? Do you know the line between fantasy and reality? Go watch those skinny children victimized and stripped of their childhood. Watch their dirt-smeared cheeks that stop smiling and dimpling. And you talk about intermittent fasting. Stop it. Can you take their pain, fear, and hunger away? They, with their begging bowls, matted hair, and scrawny hands, unabashedly imploring soldiers for the pangs of hunger to subside, to be appeased. They've gone numb to the sounds of bomb blasts and missiles, seen blood spitting out of their siblings' limbs. Prisoners of war, they are to a battle they are not even an accomplice to. They are still doing their time for crime they didn't commit. They got what they deserved, got what they sowed, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. Won't this exodus find a dead end and red seas of blood stop gushing? They've stopped feeling the wind on their innocent faces. They see the moon no more, for their eyes are fixed on interments. The heat of the sun, the cold of deserts, the rubble of blasted tenements doesn't frighten them anymore. They just mirror Mother Earth, holding hemispheres like begging bowls, begging her children to stop fighting wasteful wars. Which mother doesn't beg? Tell me. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much. Please collect your certificates. Yeah.
My poem is on page 30, Tirichendur. 50 meters tall, it reaches for the sky, a majestic carved spire to enchant the eye. Although built on the shifting sandy shore, for a full 2,000 years or more, this temple to Murugan has stood here in Tirichendur, where he had destroyed a tyrant's host. Pilot whales and dolphins can sometimes be seen where the rollers change from blue to green, but not always is the surf gentle, caressing the sand. Once, when the Dutchmen invaded and stripped the land of icons and gold and treasures manifold, a storm capsized the raiders' ships, and everything was lost to the sea. Men dreamt of a floating lemon, they say, that marked the spot where the icons lay. So there they searched, their nets they cast, and recovered the icons that had been lost. More recently, the tsunami of 2004 curved away from this temple on the shore. Although it has destroyed the entire shoreline, it respected and left untouched this ancient shrine. In the courtyard, fresh water eternally flows from a spring in the sand. The rising sun glows and halos Muruga, the Tamil's favorite deity, personification of intellect, strength, and beauty. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Miss Indra Ranganathan.
To read my poem, and as many times I have come here, so many times I have a great admiration for this lady. She's so very cheerful and like a bee. She's running around here and there. I've always admired her, my great admiration for her, and thanks for her to have brought me here. So I'm a bit shy and timid. I'm extremely homebound, and she has brought me here out from the house home. Thank you. And here is my poem, Elixir. This poem is about some ragas and long forgotten because no, I studied music. I used to sing, but not now. But I have to recall, as a recall poem only this is. So I have written about some ragas, how they appear to be and creates the impact in a day's time. Here goes. Starry fishes pierce in silent shimmer. Distant crows caw in freshened flutter. Bhupalum breezes in to roll on. The matted expanse of faceless Brahman. Bowly drones in to cringe. Goddess Usha wakes up in streaky orange. Bilahari empowers the temple gods. energizes saranga with noontime consonants. A treat of Madhyamavati to dose, yet the routine afternoon steadily goes. Daytime stress, Vasanta to replace, evening bliss, Malay Marutam to solace. What more for the slumbering starry night? Tranquil lullabies, Neelambari to delight. Time theory of ragas, thus on goes. Heaven of elixir, there inflows.
Beautiful poem, ma'am. You said you're shy, but your poem doesn't say you're shy.
Your poem.
With a friend, I feel special and lively. I wish for a friend exactly like me. As the wind blows through, my wishes come true. A friend I see in my vision so clearly. May my friend be nice. To me, my choice was wise. And I will make no judgments from afar. Instead, let them be the way they are. Thank you.
Thank you, dear. Janvi Rao Sanjay.
My name is Janavi. And before I recite my poem, I would just like to thank my English teacher Malti ma'am and the Chennai Poets Circle for this amazing opportunity. My poem is titled Dear Party on her 80th birthday and is on page 138. My dear Party with her big pottu and grand sari. My dear Party with her face full of sunshine, so beautifully starry. My dear Party forever ready to play a game of Palanguri. My dear Party, who always makes it to all my events and cheers for me. My dear Party, eager to make me neer dosai or akki roti. My dear Party, teaching me Tamil months, Thai, Mashi or Panguni. My dear Party, who enchants me with her intriguing stories about many gods and all their glories. My dear Party, who constantly worries about me. My dear Party, who is also so very proud of me. My dear Party, whose smile lights up the way. My dear Party, I love you and I wish you a very happy birthday. Thank you.
I'm sure every one of us or have our parties. So congratulations, dear. Lovely poem. Dr. Kannan, the founding father of Chennai Poets Circle, a chartered accountant, postgraduate in management accountancy, holds a PhD in commerce and interdisciplinary PhDs in Vedic management. So he is, I don't need to say more about him. Let's give him a big round of applause.
This poem is titled Alaska and is seen in page 40. Choco ice cream range of hills, nature's astonishing skills, dazzling in the shining sun, wonder they exist from when. Huge tall trees all along seen, what a panoramic scene, and layered below so nice of medium to tall size. In rows and columns many, worth taking trouble any. People there with golden heart care much for nature and art. Awesome valleys all along, inspiring many a song. Snowy surface gently glides, splendid scene on all the sides. Waterfalls, rivers, creeks, bushes, into ecstasy it pushes. Varied plants of varied green, a vast spread pristinely clean. While life here is great to see, family enjoys with glee. Polar bears, brown bears let loose, caribou, snow leopard, moose, ocean filled with wonders great, enjoy from ship's windy gate. Orcas in group welcome all, both in numbers large and small, whales and many water birds, nature's cume beyond all words. Down you see serene water, modern life does not matter, glaciers steal the limelight, guides you on the path of light. Mesmerizingly we hail, to describe further words file. And also I cannot write because Hema has put the restriction as one page. Otherwise I would go on. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon all. My name is Leah Biju. I wrote the poem Perhaps It Was Never Dark. The poem came because my parents taught me to think positively when I'm very down or I'm very unhappy. So one day I thought, why not give that a chance? Perhaps it was never dark. Life is amazing, yet it trembles with fear. We grow up with love, then hate appears. We curse the roads that brought us here, blind to the wonders always near. We think our pain is heavier than all. We stumble, we break, we learn to fall. Main characters in our own small play, forgetting others walk harder ways. We miss the moon, the morning skies, the sunlight's kiss, the birds that fly, the dragonfly resting days at our side, little miracles we let pass by. Happiness, we think it must be given, so we search in darkness and forget while living. Maybe life is shaping our hands, teaching us truths we can't understand. Maybe the storm is a lesson to keep, a strength for tomorrow sown in the deep. But fear whispers of minutes unknown, of futures unseen, of seeds unsown. We sink too deep in the shadows we make, turning blessings into heartbreak. Yet beauty surrounds us, quiet, profound, in every soft breath, in each simple sound. Perhaps it was never dark at all, just our own eyes building the wall. Thank you.
Keep coming, keep writing, okay? Join us every year. Yeah, congratulations.
To all the dignitaries present, I won't waste time, I'll directly go. I have been given 5 minutes. Well, the name of my paper is The Poetics of Uplift, Motivational Verse as a Catalyst for Inner Renewal. I begin in this paper with one of my poems that got published in this book, Oli of Enlivened Moments, with a renowned Marathi poet in Pune. The name of the poem is To Be Free. The free-flowing river wishes to meet the ocean, meandering across obstacles. The chains are melting, hard-cast iron though. Mindless fetters giving up for freedom to take in. Fate raining low, desires beaming forth, torrential rain cracking the womb of clouds to reach the dry soil. No ties, no hard and fast rules, no irrelevant disciplines looking monstrous. The winds have taken control, the takeoff is steady, the flight fighting crosswinds. Poetry does not always arrive with noise. Sometimes it arrives quietly, like a line remembered at the edge of despair, like a rhythm that steadies the breath, like a voice that reminds us, you are not finished yet. In an age of academic pressure, emotional fatigue, and psychological precarity, literature is no longer approached only as an object of analysis. It is increasingly approached as a resource for survival. Motivational poetry, often dismissed as simplistic or popular, deserves serious scholarly attention because it actively shapes emotional resilience, self-perception, and inner agency. This paper, The Poetics of Uplift, examines how motivational verse functions not merely as literary expression, but as a catalyst for inner renewal, a space where poetic language meets psychology, pedagogy, and lived experience. The study is guided by 3 core objectives. First, to explore the thematic and aesthetic strategies. Second, to situate motivational verse within theoretical frameworks. And third, to examine the pedagogical and therapeutic relevance of motivational poetry in contemporary educational and mental health contexts. The theoretical orientation. The paper draws upon Barbara Fredrickson's Broaden and Build theory, which argues that positive emotions expand cognitive and emotional capabilities. Simultaneously, Louis Rosenblatt's Reader response theory allows us to view poetry as a transactional space, as a space where we can interact. I mean, when something is very painful, we may not talk to others, but we can talk to poetry. So the poetry becomes a space for transactions. Through selected readings of William Ernest Henley, Rabindranath Tagore, Maya Angelou, and Jalaluddin Rumi, the study demonstrates how different traditions converge on a shared emotional grammar. Basically, the text discusses were Henley's Invictus, which transforms suffering into inner sovereignty. Tagore redefines courage as fearlessness rather than escape, and Angelou's Till I Rise binds personal resilience to collective memory. Rumi, as we all know, invites transformation through metaphor and inward expansion. The key findings would include motivational poetry functions as emotional rehearsal, poetic form intensifies psychological impact. In educational contexts, motivational poetry enhances emotional literacy, reflective thinking, and student engagement. In therapeutic and mental health spaces, motivational verse offers a non-clinical yet deeply affirming language for self-renewal. So therefore, motivational poetry is not a dilution of literary seriousness. It is a human response to vulnerability. It does not deny pain, it speaks through it. In classrooms, we know they become counseling spaces, they become spaces to talk, and being a professor, I find poetry as a great medium for expression of my students. In recognizing the poetics of uplift, we reaffirm the relevance of the humanities not only as a field of knowledge but as a practice of care. Thank you. I think I have kept to my time. Thank you. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't think anybody is interested in asking questions. Oh, ma'am, you will ask questions. Yes, please.
Ma'am, you can use the hand mic. Please wait.
Lovely introduction. I'm very proud to be a part of CPC. I always remember Abdul Kalam, who would always say you should dream. You should dream in life. And I would add one more thing to that, wishful thinking. No harm in wishful thinking. That is what my poem is about. Can I look beautiful? Can I become taller? Can I turn fairer? Can I become an intellectual? Can I become a celebrity and seize the limelight on television? Can I win the highest award in the country and receive a standing ovation for the celebration? Quite possible, I guess, with the fast strides artificial intelligence is making. However, there is a hitch to all this. Natural intelligence proves its importance as AI is not possible without human intervention, which includes emotion and expression. Whether it's a happy feeling or sorrow, a replica of Meera is possible through AI, sans, feeling, and emotion. Thank you.
Thank you, Meera ma'am. Thank you so much. With due apologies to Kriya Rajashekar, I'm sorry I missed.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Kriya Rajashekar, and first I would express my gratitude towards my school, BVM, and Malati ma'am, and the Chennai Poets Circle for giving me this opportunity, and Hema ma'am. So my poet's name is Save Earth, Make It Green. People are sad, the air is not clean. Our earth is sick, it has lost its green. Earth is our mother, kind and true. She cares for me, she cares for you. Trees are falling, animals cry. If we don't help, the planet will die. The snow is melting, the seas may rise. It's time to act, let's all be wise. Plant more trees, let rivers flow. Save the earth and watch it grow. Water is precious, don't let it go. Keep it safe for tomorrow's glow. Let's make earth happy, shiny and bright. Keep it green. It's our job, our right. Thank you.
A call comes from Hema. I couldn't resist it. Yes, CPC had been the cradle ground of my writing. And what I am today, I would say, in all humility, I owe it much to you, dear CPC. Thank you. Now, dears, what's after life? Memories that you grab while you walk through the slippery shores of life. Here is a poem I wrote while I was on my travels to Greece. And it was a rare ship experience that took me to Santorini Hills. Beautiful place. And I named it Sweet Shores Where Serenity Sleeps. One evening, as Wordsworth says, they flash upon that inward eye. That is a bliss of solitude. When my little one was playing the piano, I got the nuances of those waves lashing on the shore. Here I go into my poem. Evening darkening, mind floats on the piano music the little one plays. Those waves, the lashing waves, how they make a crescendo, the same when they vaulted up on those Cretan horizons. How all merged, faces varied, you chanced upon, to meet in Greece, each glowing in genial warmth, their smiles thawing out. Those distant blue hills, graceful in mystery, sedimented. The Santorini island, tucked safe in their fold. How soulscapes merged of man, the flora, fauna, the frothy, foamy waters, the breath, the being one, the sea, the shore, the wind, cutting through time, past, present, future. The continuum so divine. How silence turned golden, fusing locales, spirits, human, non-human. The cuddling wind, the foam-filled waters. Shh. Mind soaks into that mood. Those sweet shores where serenity sleeps. Thank you, dears.
Miss Monica is a passionate poet, author and speaker. She is the author of 3 poetry collections. Her poetic excellence earned her feature in the 43rd World Congress Anthology. So she does a lot of speaking and motivates young minds. You want to hold the hand mic and speak? Are you okay?
A pleasant afternoon all, and it takes me immense pleasure to be a part of CPC as always. And my poem for the day, The Untold Philosophy. People tell you you're wrong, yet never show you what is right. They call you bad, but never teach you how to be good. They shout you're on the wrong path, yet never guide you toward the fine one. They smile at your success, but never cry with your sorrow. They notice your embarrassment, but never find a way to heal it. They enjoy your money, but never share a hand when you are empty. They want you to grow, but never beyond them. They want you to shine, but never brighter than them. Remember, they all come and go. It is you who will survive. Be the director of your own story, not just a co-artist in someone else. I repeat, be the director of your own story, not just a co-artist in someone else. Thank you.
And I thank CPC for giving this opportunity. My poem is called A Cup of Tea and it's on page 140. A cup of tea marks the beginning of the day. Each sip is precious. In fine china it stills a wonderful tale. A cup of tea marks the end of boredom. It makes you rise when you're feeling low. Each drop more price than shiny autumn. Dark or light, the unique tea makes your day. A cup of tea marks the beginning of a mystery. Iced or hot, spiked or not, with a dash of lemon, ginger or dairy, Arctic cold or fairy, drink it up, your cup of hot tea. Thank you.
It's 25th birthday and I'm very proud, honored to be a part of the Silver Jubilee reading session of CPC. Thank you for the honor and the opportunity. The title of my poem is The Search is On. When one's thoughts are not in one's control, when one's words are not in one's control, and one's action are not in one's control, it means that the time has come to take charge of one's life and living. How long to read others' minds to form one's thoughts? How long to read others' expressions to control one's words? How long to read others' feelings to express one's opinions? Such life experiences have trained us to be good psychologists, good behavioral scientists, and good wordsmiths. But haven't such life experiences also left us often searching for self amid others' actions, thoughts, and opinions, and words, and more words? Amid this chaos of actions, opinions, and experiences, the search for self is still on and looks like it will forever be on. Thank you.
Padmavati Setaluri.
Dear friends, I'm so happy to be here for the 25th CPC program. Yeah, the title of the poem is Waving Winter. I feel the freshness of fragrant flowers. The chilly morning mesmerizes me. The cool breeze that kisses my face consoles, calms, and comforts me. Those hidden dewdrops on the petals, the snowy paths, branches and hills, skidding cars and slippery lanes remind me of the magical game. These migrating birds find a place, past swaying branches, seas and oceans, and those hills, rivers, and lovely valleys welcome heartily the fireball soon. The energizing sun renews its power. The gloomy sky opens its wings ahead. The earth welcomes the warm sun, embracing today, tomorrow, and every moment. Oh dear, fold your rugs and warm wear. Feel the momentary minute right now. Beautiful winter is moving away, changing mood, mind, and memories. Thank you.
Ms. Padmini is a rehabilitation psychologist educational consultant and corporate consultant for learning and development. She strongly believes that literature shapes and influences personality. She uses poetry, songs, quotes, and stories for counseling and training. She's a bilingual writer. Hearty welcome, ma'am. Pankajam, ma'am, please be ready. Is Pooja here? Pooja isn't here, right? Yeah. Pooja is not here. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
You heard Thirumalai sir speaking about people who are born and who blossom in CPC. He didn't mention my name, but that's me. Okay. CPC denied me the opportunity of the blues of aging. It refused to allow me to get into senior citizenship with drowsiness and unhappiness. It allowed me to be born again with confidence, and I stand before you. Thank you, sir. Thank you all very much. CPC means a lot to me. Right. Why suffer, I wonder. That's what I've chosen to write now, but that's always been my rhetoric. Why suffer, I wonder. Page 38, page 58. Why does one suffer, I wonder. They say it's karma. We write our own destiny with the actions of the past and present. Is it so? I wonder. They say it's our desires that propel our actions, that dictate our choices. Is it so? I wonder. They say it's the curses and blessings, the power of immense feeling of others triggered by our actions. Is it so? I wonder. However brought about, are we slaves of circumstances? Why does one suffer, I wonder. Because the power of volition is held dormant? Because one chooses to? Because one has chosen not to? Is it so? Yes, yes, and yes. Challenges are circumstantial. Suffering is volitional. Thank you, CPC.
Pankajam Kotarat is here. Yeah. Is a bilingual poet, in fact trilingual poet I think, novelist and author of over 40 books including 28 solo collections. Her poems, book reviews, short stories and articles have...
And happy 25th anniversary to CPC. Thank you, friends. CPC is very special to me, so I don't want to miss this event. My poem is on page 60, Life, a Vessel of Hopes. This poem is in the form of a prayer. Okay, on to the poem. Give me the courage to trust myself, even when the entire universe gangs against me. Allow me to keep the child in me alive, to have fun unlimited and make dreams rise to the sky. Allow me to roam the whole world freely and peacefully, not losing direction among the whirlwinds of revolts. Fill all the colors of this universe inside me. I want to make rainbows inside my heart. Fill the mine of pure bliss inside me. Let me swim in it and sleep in it like a babe in the womb. Let all the flowers bloom in my heart and make it a garden of joy, sunshine, and camaraderie. Help me to keep my hopes alive. Make me confident till the last speck of my energy drains out. Let me not worry about not choosing the best of choices. Let His will prevail. What happens, happens for good. Let me stick to my faith and move forward towards accomplishing my goals till my last breath. And finally, I have only one death. Let it not happen before it really happens. Thank you.
One of the dearest daughters of the Chennai Poetry Circle. So please, Kashi, where flames dance on water and fire outlives flesh. Built by Shiva for Visalakshi, the gentle Parvati, guarded by timeless Bhairava, watched over by the ageless Vinayaka for ages unseen. Here, Ganga embraces Varuna and Asi, their mingling breath naming the city Varanasi. Here, divinity dissolves as devotion, a confluence of gods and ghats, of sacred bulls and wandering seekers, of departed souls and discarded bodies, of faith and fantasy, of piety and plenitude, of selfless surrender, kindness to life, and reverence to tradition, where food is God, where to let go is one's ego, where siddhas linger the breath, measuring centuries, not years. Kashi, land of flowers without fragrance, cremation fires without stench, where crows do not circle and bulls forget their rage. Here, nothing is sin, nothing profane, everything divine. Kashi, the eternal city, the land of whisper between people, and they always grace Chennai Poets Circle. So this year, sir said he wants to write a poem. He's given us a poem and he's reading. He's a professor and he's given lectures. He's the recipient of Abdul Kalam Award for 2024. But that he's writing a poem in order to contribute to the Chennai Poetry Circle is a privilege and honor for us all. Welcome, sir. You want the hand mic or is this okay? Yeah, please.
Scholars. In earlier days, the kings in our country preferred to spend time in the company of scholars in various disciplines, with the idea of acquiring knowledge and guidance. They used discretion in providing good governance for the benefit of their citizens. They constructed Vidyalaya, Grandhalaya. In addition, they constructed Aushadhalaya and Devalaya. In the present day scenario, Google plays the role of a scholar in different disciplines by providing information on almost any subject of interest. One must use discretion in identifying the correct information. Knowledge never retires. In the earlier days, kings honored their scholars with gold chain or diamond-studded chains. I imagine myself as a king. I honored myself with this necklace. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You look like a typical poet.
Birthday. Compared to that, I am day one, because I am just a fledgling circling around the circumference of the Chennai Poets Circle and pausing to think whether to fly in or fly out. And Mrs. Hema Ravi has been she is my friend, philosopher and guide. She's been a great mentor, and she has she has stoked a tiny spark in me, which led me to write. And then her catalytic power is so much that I coughed up around 6 short stories and more than 6 poems, and I surprised myself by that. So that the credit goes to Hema Ravi, of course, because it was so latent in me, I didn't even realize I could write, though I had a wish to. So I thank her a lot for being my mentor, and thank God for bringing her into my life at this time. Okay, then my poem is about relationships,
and it is this poem is an outcome of my real worry about the dwindling faith in relationships these days. So speaking or words itself is not in trend. People don't want to speak to each other. Then how will relationships sustain? Not by mere texts or Instagram posts. I just wanted to bring that out, that physical and emotional relationships is more important in life than mere words. So it's in page 74. Can you hear me? Yes, ma'am. Yes. Okay. Relationships. Relationships, it's a swinging door on a single hinge, or even a swirling door with a mid-hinge. The young and the old are in and out. Their whims and fancies carry no doubt. They feel no emotional burden. Come on, the mantra is to move on. One blames the other of a mind with a twist. There must be many a mad hatter in our midst. Will you give it a second try? Never. Once bitten, twice shy. Being single is the new freedom. Go for it. Enjoy life, say some. Our parents celebrate their 50th wedding anniversary. Was there a magic potion for being merry? Yes, there was and is. Respect for relationships, either within the family, for society, for traditions, which preached tolerance and piety. And hold your head high in society. Relationships around us mattered. It was an invisible cross we shouldered. Acceptance by society made us think twice, averted many a fallout and made us wise. But why fear? A figment of our imagination, because it is only our mind's reflection. Man is a social animal seeking company, a hand to hold and a soul to journey. You may think you can survive if there is food. You don't live life without company that is good. Learn from nature to nurture relationships. Even animals live in pairs or groups. Thank you.
Poem on relationships leaves much to think about. Thank you, ma'am. And
My poem is Cunning Cuckoo. I got this inspiration seeing a cuckoo cooing on a tree. Beside the tree, on the next tree, there was a crow nest and a crow feeding its chicks. So the inspiration just flowed into me. The sweet singing cuckoo, brownish black in color, similar to the crow, ever busy singing. In her melodious voice, she lays eggs in the crow nest, while she carefree keeps herself busy singing. The crow does the job of hatching her eggs. The crow dutifully hatches the egg with her own, nourishing it with a sibling, until it grows up enough to respond to cuckoo calls. That's when she discovers it's not hers at all. Thank you.
I am very happy and privileged to be here among fellow poets, and special thanks to CPC and special thanks to ma'am for grooming me and giving me an opportunity. The CPC is 25 years old. I am only 4-5 years young to the CPC. I am very happy. Let me read out this poem. My poems are there on page 77. I am reading the second one, titled, As I See, I Hope, and As I Hope, I See. When everyone stares into the distance at a shadow dark, I sincerely look for the light source that casts it stark. When everyone gazes at the darkness of the thick night, I wish to bathe merrily in the cool, lucent moonlight. When everyone feels the misery of scorching heat on a midsummer day, I refresh in the awesome shade of the big banyan tree to be happy and gay. When you find your eyes are blinded by the gusty, dusty wind blowing, I watch with wonder the dancing, swirling leaves of the trees unwinding. When you are stranded in the vast expanse of the desert dunes, gripped in fear, I revel in the quietude, counting the spectacular sand sketches of nature drawn clear. When, on an unheralded rainy day, you run for an umbrella to shield, I enjoy getting drenched, looking at the effacing cracks on the barren field. When you fritter the night away in a reverberating, boisterous ambience, I sleep peacefully in my dream at the doorstep of still silence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for write your poem. See, Dr. Khan, everybody says you write really well. Please.
Existence and choice. Page number 81. Compelled to enter, here in struggle, choice is mine, which is to select, this or that. This birth avails because of ancestor genes, nourishing body, heart and intellect. After birth, in flow, entangled being by outer, sometime meshed by self. An insider, an entrap, herein whirlpool. The answer is to be searched. The answer is to be searched in the companionship of hope, passion, struggle, expanding I, from you to we and all, proclaiming freedom, equality and justice, longing for creativity. Proclaiming freedom, equality and justice, longing for creativity. Creativity is important. Thank you.
Much Hema for that nice introduction. And as you said, this is about a travel review only. Recently I had been to Muktinath, Kathmandu, Nepal, and this is about that. Musings at magnificent Muktinath. There are precious, mystic, poignant moments when you try to contain the universe in verse and fail magnificently. It was a freezing dawn at Muktinath temple. The exotic blueness of the mountain ranges merged well with the meandering clouds. Rows of mountains in varied colors in all directions stood as silent sentinels, embodying a mukti as the cosmic Shakti. River Kandaki was carving its own glorious path, carrying a splurge of shaligrams, girdling for a tryst with the Ganges. At that sacred morning hour, I stood on the terrain to take in the grandiose spectacle, a scene so breathtaking, steeped in sun dust. In a hush, it deepened my inner consciousness. Nothing appeared unreal and nothing appeared real. Beyond the cerebrals, beyond our deepest themes, my camera declined to capture with the optical lens such stunning scenes. I was stupefied, the dales and valleys of this Himalayan heartland. As I bid goodbye to these great peaks of variegated hues, I took a farewell dip in two sacred ponds, seeking blessings in the Lord of Liberation's silent strength. Thank you.
Such a visual poem. Wonderful. Thank you, sir. Mr. Ravi Chandran, retired AGM from State Bank, has an unblemished record of 38 years. He's a bilingual poet and
thank you all for those who are sitting in the dais also. Just a few lines. As I told you that my book, Chittirai Arubhudu Vichitram, it's a Tamil and bilingual book. It's also available in YouTube. You can just see it in YouTube also by typing Chittirai Arubhudu Vichitram. Okay, certain highlights also you can see. செங்கதிரில் நனைந்து செங்கரும்பு சுவைத்து மங்களம் பொங்கிட மங்கையர் கோலமிட பொங்கல் கொண்டாடினோம். திங்கள் தோறும் இனிமேல் கொண்டாட்டம் தான். திங்கள் தோறும் இனிமேல் கொண்டாட்டம். மை போயம் now. Remember நவராத்திரி கொலு பொம்மைகள். Remember நவராத்திரி கொலு பொம்மைகள். Like Kumbhakarna lost in dreams, the dolls lay still in silken seams. பரணில கிடக்கிறது பரணில. When Purattasi month drew near, their slumber broke with festive cheer. Paranai cupboard opened, creaked so wide. Duryodhana stepped beeping outside. Homemaker stood down at a graceful pace to catch the idol with quick embrace. Next, idol Krishna stood in line with glee. Wrapped in clothes, came down with eyes on the sundal vessel secretly. Wrapped in clothes, all the dolls returned. Crowded amidst a brief quarrel got noticed. Duryodhana pulled all the wrapped gowns, tugging, tearing, creeping, making frowns. Krishna smilingly looked for his garments, and with awe saw his also tossed by him. For the homemaker not to give any burden, and for Duryodhana's helpful true deeds, Krishna doll then bowed in pride, and the homemaker smiled with joy inside. Pandava with Krishna in the Kurukshetra scene, Rama's coronation ceremony and all the dolls in line, homemaker Kolu got the celebrations galore, evening bloomed with love and glee to share, homemaker's home in color bright, Navaratri 9 days in festive light, songs of cowherds filled the air, Sundal cups were a nourishing welfare. Thank you all.
So Rama.
Thank you, Hemaji, for that wonderful introduction. Good morning to the distinguished invitees, honorable members of CPC, and Hemaji. She's an inspiration for all of us always. And dear poets from India and across the globe. My poem is titled Children of War Zones. This poem is written, it's dedicated to Parnia Basi, an Iranian poet. She lost her life in recent war, shell attack in Iran. And she has written a famous poem called Extinguished Star. And in that poem she has written, you and I will come to an end somewhere when the most beautiful poem in the world falls quiet. Most beautiful poem is not going to be quiet, and it's a poem dedicated to Pannaya. And children of war zones. Finding peace in war zones is not an effortless mission. There the broken pieces of life fall like shards precipitously, leaving no place to sit and breathe. With the whole emptiness of this world, homeless children walk there, no dreams to sparkle in their smile lost, fearful face, and in their absent eyes, the cheerful wings are burned, colors withered, and their heart of gold almost lost the last gleam of light. In mighty cohorts, fiends spin a wheel of war, in gossamers of vehemence, voiceless the souls lob. In a land of their origin, to end in dreary shelter camps as mendicants, children of war zones, for them the spring is yet another wilted day, no, not a season of flowers, and the war never ends. Why? Thank you.
He's traveling and writing poems during his free time.
Good afternoon, my name is Saket. I would like to thank Maliti ma'am and Chennai Poets Circle for giving me this opportunity. Yeah. My poem is in page 142. Where legends reside. Welcome to the cricket world. We are about to see a million things. First, we have the mighty Indian in blue who are too good to be true. Next, we have the fast Pakistanis breaking wickets as fast as the wind. When these two rivals play, it's a brutal war where balls sway. Third, we have the mind-blowing Aussies where every team flees. Last but not least, we have the creator of cricket. It's England, and they never missed a wicket. Two strong teams going offense and defense, making the match and fans very tense. Sadly, we have to end this terrific tour. But don't worry, I'll come back for more.
Sanvi, class 10B. You can stand here, dear. She's very social, creative, and an adventure-loving person. Hobbies and interests include singing, dancing, and photography, basketball. The list is endless. Welcome.
Good afternoon all, my name is Sanvi. This is my first time here. I would like to thank CPC and my school Balodya Mandir and especially Malti ma'am, my English teacher. But most of all, I would like to thank Saket because without me knowing, he gave my name to the poet competition. My poem name is Teenage Mind. This pressure I have to handle, it puts my mind in a battle. A mix of emotions together. When shall my heart be like a feather? There is a thought to die, and as an angel I shall fly, or burn in hell, that only God can tell. But then the Almighty comes by and tells me, what you are thinking is wrong. I have created you to be beautiful and strong. You have a heart of gold that can never be sold. Oh God, no one cares, and just a burden they bear. My dear child, don't have this attitude. Instead, show them some gratitude. Besides, you have a long way to go. You have places to see and things to know. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Samiha Fatima from IMAX Global School, 7th grade. I want to thank CPC for giving me the opportunity to present my poem, which is titled Eternal Enigma, on page 85. Eternal Enigma. In sacred silence, lies unfold about the eternal truth which they hold. The ghostly whispers echo through my mind. Indeed, I don't know of what kind. The truth lies still, covering lies behind. The wiser it gets, it's hard to find. The shallow waters stand still in the hours. I am all aware of their pitiful powers. A drama of a failed charisma, follow together behind a trauma. Wisdom buried under timeless lakes, real realms hold unmatched mistakes. Moon's illusions make us blind. The wiser it gets, it's hard to find. Time keeps clicking, but slowly paces. A truth that has a lot of faces. A tale of truth, difficult to remind. The wiser it gets, it's hard to find. The truth is not hard, but easy for complex. Surely easy for those who have reflex. An undeniable reality's name is knowledge, a person's most powerful privilege. I have written this poem trying to answer my question, why truth is so difficult to recognize, and answering it with my philosophy of knowledge. Thank you.
I now call upon Ms. Sara Sohail, 12-year-old who writes poems and enjoys poetry. Her poems carry life within them. They are heart-touching, can make people cry, and everyone can relate to them. She also romanticizes poems, which makes them even more meaningful.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. I'm Sarah Suhail of grade 7 from IMAX Global School. So before I start reciting my poem, I would like to thank CPC for giving me this wonderful opportunity to present my first poem. And I would like to thank two peoples. One is my English sir and one is my parents. I would like to thank my English sir because he was the first person who introduced me to poetry and he supported me to write poetry, and also my parents who supported me to write poetry. So I'm going to recite my poem, To Heaven, which is in page number 143. I felt you curl inside my womb, knowing that you would always bloom. My eyes were filled with tears of joy, with excitement so big, girl or boy. Each little treacherous kick brought me beautiful pain, just as a treacherous thunder in the beautiful rain. Every day I planned your happy days and smiled with you in different ways. I felt you curl inside my womb, unknowing that you would gloom. They told me you had slipped away before I saw your first new day. Your cradle awaits. Your cradle awaits, untouched and alone. A hollow space I claimed to be my own. I saw you lifeless, as flesh and bone, your soul to the heaven forever flown. I would like to dedicate this poem to my cousin who recently lost her baby, and I request every one of you present here to pray to God that she is blessed with another baby. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that wonderful poem. Smriti Ashok from...
So I would like to thank the Chennai Poets Circle and my dear teacher Malti ma'am for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and from my school is where I sparked my interest for writing. So my poem is called Worry What. Worry all night and all day. These nagging problems don't go away. Will I finish everything on time? Not getting it done feels like a crime. Worrying creates a mental breakdown. There are so many I don't want to let down. My feelings and emotional outbursts. What do I worry about first? A project undone, homework that's no fun. If I told a huge lie, these things I don't stand by. Not doing my duty with a sigh, I kiss my good reputation goodbye. All these worries banging in my head, the consequences I truly dread. Is there time to do it all? Will my worries ever fall? Fueled only by fear of being incomplete, the last thing would be to accept defeat. To destroy the clinging stress, don't ever be careless. Let things go and let them be. Now my head will be worry-free. Thank you.
So, my poem is Mr. Dog on the Median. Actually, this happened because we were caught in heavy traffic on a Chennai road one day. So based on that, I have written this. Mr. Dog on the Median. It was 6 in the evening. We were in our car on a Chennai road, caught in heavy traffic, waiting with impatience, cursing the government and administration. As our vehicle moved in slow motion, I saw a doggy relaxing on the median, lying in a calm and composed state, with half-closed eyes and contented expression. On his left, there was a heavy inflow. On his right, there was a steady outflow. But unperturbed by the heavy traffic and pollution, he was lying on the isthmus of a middle state, in a zenful meditative state. He had had his fill for the day and was resting on the median, without any past regrets or future worries, in a blissful state of the moment, with an expression of a medium in communion with the universe, unmindful of all the commotion around him. We humans are proud of our sixth sense and of our immense knowledge of the Almighty. But in reality, are we in any way near Him? Thank you.
Dr. Sridevi Selvaraj, a hardcore academic, has been teaching.
Thank you, CPC. Thank you, Hema. Solace. My mind wandered in the forest of the self. It got lost in the prestige of my belief. It knew it was created to rule. The flowers did not understand this. They kept waving at me without respect. I plucked them and threw them away. I felt like living in live hell. The heat burnt my soul and ate my thoughts. The universe whispered love. Love, I heard the hills murmur. Saints said it aloud again and again. I misheard and created systems of hatred. I am caught in the human paradox. The breeze smiled gently. It understood my gross deficiency. Love showered and drenched me. It filled my soul with peace. It saved my sanity and healed me. I took the grass and kissed it. The grass wept with happiness. It was always lonely, tramped by legs. To be acknowledged is something, it said. Only when you hear the grass do you realize yourself. My heart sang with solace and joy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Here? Yes. Shriya Nyapati, a 16-year-old, lives in Chennai, has been writing poetry for the last 2 years. The types of poems she loves to read and write are simple, philosophical, and which uses basic language, but still makes you think. Welcome, please.
Greetings to the dignitaries on the dais and this golden assembly of poets. A big thanks to the CPC, especially Hema Ravi ma'am, for giving me a place among this crowd of brilliant-minded individuals, both elder and younger. Another thank you to my wonderful relative, Meera Auntie, for introducing me to this wonderful platform. Moving on to my poem, My Childhood Home, on page number 110. Today, my childhood home was demolished. A final dining curse it must have wished upon me, for the memories crumbled too. I'll spend forever seeing them in dreams. A year later, a new building was built. Life moved on, but I didn't. I stared so long at the ghost of my old home following me that I forgot to look forward. So, I will forever see it in dreams, but dreams are what they ever will be. Thank you.
We all relate to this. Such a wonderful poem.
So very good afternoon and greetings to the members of the CPC and congratulations on the Silver Jubilee edition of the CPC here. Well, this is a poem that I wrote which every daughter can connect with. And if you ask the daughters, they will always say, men may come and men may go, but it is always my daddy who's the eternal hero. So this is for all of them who miss their daddy. So the poem is titled, Daddy, I Miss You. Years have rolled on, time has faded, memory drifts by like a breeze. From my ponytail fringe to the polka dotted frill, I've come a long way, Daddy, farther than you imagined, longer than you thought I would. Your carefree, cozy princess once ran fingers on your face, parting and unparting, shaking your hair to mess it again. Closing your eyes, I would baritone your voice behind your oversized spectacles, asking you to guess me. Daddy, you never saw me as just a girl. I was a fighter at all things, strong among all. You taught me to walk, to run, to hit back when needed. You taught me to love, to show compassion, and also when to stay silent, stoic, and mute. But I am not the same now, Daddy. I have sobered down. I have learned to accept and let things go. Oh, Daddy, I miss you more than I ever thought I did. I recall tracing your wrinkles, hiding your dark circles with makeup. My own face wears those marks, those same marks, and my kids tease me. I have grown old and plumpy, my hands crack, my skin peels. No one says thank you. Sometimes I feel I don't exist. When I see someone dressed, mannered, or praying like you, my heart sinks. Memories dash in and tears quietly fall. I'm caught in a midlife swing, mostly lonely and alone. Oh, Daddy, I wish you were here to whisper, it will be okay. I crave love, care, and arms to hold me and to make me feel alive. Oh, Daddy, I miss you. Will you please come back for me? Thank you.
I love reading it. Wonderful. I could relate to everything that you said. Wonderful poem. Ram, she's been on her toes. I had to search for you. Kamakshi is her official name. She had a schooling in Air Force School and Kendriya Vidyalaya across many states in India. She holds a master's degree in English literature and psychology. She's the resource person for DAV group of schools, mentoring teachers and students across Tamil Nadu. She introduces new poets to us year after year. So welcome, Sujata. Sumitra Ramesh here? No, Sumitra Ramesh is not here, no?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's day is a memorable one indeed. I consider it 2 milestones a day. CPC turns 25, I turn 50. So it's really a memorable day for me. And my poem is on page 117. It's about the reality that's happening now. Even we sir started saying AI. So something similar, not exactly like that. Digitalization swallows writing. The quills and ornamental reed pens, safe and secure in the museum shelves. The ink pots of various shapes and sizes to find a place with them. They used to be the best of pairs. Without one, the other had no value, truly made for each other. Their bonding shunned away ignorance, opening new vistas of knowledge. Together, they brought out the creativity, influenced the lives of those who were forlorn. Their unison made us read Byron, Shelley, Keats, Wordsworth, Shakespeare ruled for an era. Thomas Hardy, Jane Austen, and Chinua Achebe, to need mention. It's these writers and their writings that instilled a passion to visit the library and read. Alas, the advent of technology has changed our way of life. We don't budge from our couches to go to a library. We are addicted to our gadgets. Acquisition of knowledge, of course, is there, but at the cost of uprooting ourselves from our origin. I can clearly visualize what is with us today soon will be on the shelves of a museum. So rapid is the technological advancement. My plea to my fellow writers, hear the screech of the empty ink pots and pens that crave to be put back into use. Thank you.
Wonderful poem and wonderful way to celebrate a birthday.
To all the dignitaries and my fellow poets who are present here. It is truly an honor and a privilege to stand before this esteemed gathering of stalwarts. Today, I do not stand here merely as a speaker, but as a proud daughter, honored to speak about a man who has been a guiding light in my life, my father. To me, he was more than a parent, a mentor, a role model, and a constant source of inspiration. It is said, words often fail in speeches, but they find their true voice in poetry. With this, I would like to present my simple yet heartfelt poetry. Here we go. It's titled, Forever My Confidant. My dad, my superhero, my pride, always with me in life's roller coaster ride. My mentor, my anchor, my confidence all along. In every trial, you made me strong. Moments of laughter and moments of tears I have seen. In every memory, you have always been. In every step, in every fall, you were there to catch me through it all. A writer, a speaker, a poet, a great linguist, a sage, a living dictionary, whose words fill every page. You lived life fully, with nothing to grieve, and gave more than you would ever receive, helping others in every way, never expecting returns one day. Discipline, sincerity, values of gold. You taught me lessons that never grow old. My safe haven, a trusted friend, my dad, my confidant, till the very end. You are one in a million, my strength all through. A stoic simpleton, the world is none but you. In your absence, though, I lean on you in my ups and downs as my role model true. In the frame, your smiling eyes stay, watching over me as I walk each day. Love you, Dad, for being everything a daughter could ever wish. For being everything a daughter could ever wish. I hope these words resonate with every son and daughter who finds strength in quiet guidance. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
It's a day of great joy and bliss to me. Things are going on very smoothly and successfully in this function. Two of our members have celebrated their birthdays with your blessings. They will have a long life and glorious life. All these poems I heard, and most of them are very nice. They indicate the cultural values of India and passions of our family life. Some of them are spiritual. The content is good. Totally, this issue is a golden treasury. Now, I will turn to my poem. There are two poems. I will select only the second one. Page number is 124. Many of you have gone to Europe, but your concentration is on Western Europe. You go to Germany, England, France, Spain and Netherlands, but you never turn back to the Eastern Europe. Eastern Europe has got poor countries like Hungary, Romania and other places, Bulgaria. So this Romania is very poor, but I like those people who are simple. Please take the poem. Root in the soil. Romanian peasants work hard on the mountain slopes. They gather grass to make a haystack. They plow the lands with horses and gather milk from the cows. In all season they suffer and toil. They use neither TV, cell phone nor computer. You ask them about happy city life, but they exhibit an innocent smile. Far from the madding crowd, they are rooted to the soil. They don't aspire for city life. Thank you very much.
Is Vihas Raghavan here? Is he here? No. Vibha? Is Vibha here?
Very good afternoon to everyone present here. Thank you, Chennai Poets Circle, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. My poem is titled Social Media. It's on page 128. A newer form of capitalism pushed onto us every second. No time to filter what we need, taking just anything in. It doesn't rest for gossip or worship. To it, everyone is turning into modern slaves. No real friends and relationships, everything's a give and take. Our fingers keep going for the next, peeping into the windows of others' lives. An endless loop of envy and anger quietly entering our educated minds, failing to appreciate the things we own, buying things we don't need, pushing ourselves to become more known, equating self-worth to social trend. Freedom of speech or freedom of hate, unknown humans' inhuman words, or rather comments, should we say, just another place to witness our worst selves. Addictive algorithm is its key, a rush of dopamine at each click, losing families, losing ourselves in a quest for quick gratification. Human minds become poorer, hobbies just for happiness disappear. This media thrives on showcase behavior. Its money is driven by viewership culture. Thank you.
Poetry rendition. We have Hema ma'am coming with her verses. Hema Ravi ma'am works part-time as an IELTS, communicative English and soft skill trainer. She's a poet, author, reviewer, editor, and an independent researcher. A lifelong learner, writing, she believes, is therapeutic. She feels there's always a story out in the open if one keeps the eyes and ears open.
Thank you for that lovely introduction, Sujata ma'am. I'm honored. It's a privilege. Before I begin, I would just request Dr. Devdoot Mukherjee and Sridevi ma'am to be ready for the paper presentation. Sridevi ma'am will be the chair and he's going to present his paper because I think many of them have already gone for lunch. So my poem is on page 32. This one, it was selected for the long list in the Asia Review. Language of nature. Elements of nature speak distinctly and decisively. Man punctuates them with his observations. Be prepared for strong winds and high fire danger, damaging and potentially life-threatening. Lightning, the natural cause of igniting dry vegetation. Human negligence, another major causation. Air quality alerts followed by do not drink water notifications. Devoid of food, water and a roof, man struggles to pick up the threads. Such restoration is physically, financially and emotionally draining. Warmer climes amplify wildfires in forests. Satellites track them. Unfortunately, destruction happens in seconds. Intriguingly, animals and birds understand the language of nature better than man. Animals don't just sit there and wait to be overcome. Once the catastrophe passes, the creatures return to forage for insects that wiggle out, to build nests on injured trees. Weeds and grasses grow when the first raindrop falls. Seeds stored deep beneath rapidly germinate. In time, the ecosystem is alive once again with flora and fauna as if nothing ever happened. Language of nature has no fear or favor. Language of nature has no fear or favor. No, man, you're vulnerable, powerless. Thank you. Thank you all.
Hello everyone, Pongal Varthagal and a Happy New Year to all of you. I'm grateful to CPC. I'm the daughter of CPC. I always find CPC as my home, and poetry is the festival of my soul always. So I always look forward to poetry events, and this is very special. My poem, The Sound of Glass Breaking, I dedicate this to all the hope weavers in my life, and to my parents, and especially to my dad. I had to mention this, like 2024 January, my dad had a fall and had brain injury. He's still under tracheostomy, unconscious and on bed care. This is a third year beginning. But the moment 2024, he got discharged, 2 days later, I attended CPC event. And I'm grateful to all the nurses who took care of and who are still taking care of my dad, because of whom I could come and read my poem, because poetry, art is my therapy. So I'm very grateful to Hema Ravi ma'am and to many souls here and through Poetry Circle, the souls I met who have been hand-holding me. Whatever challenges life throw at me, it is always art and poetry that has never let me down. So I'm really grateful to all of them. And this to my parents and to my amazing dad, whose genes, his zest for life, love for nature I have inherited. And thank you, God Almighty and the universe. The sound of glass breaking. If let down feeling has a sound, it could be the sound of glass breaking. In unexpected moments, ways of life. In unexpected moments, ways, life, people let us down. If the ache in waiting, hope vanishing, have a sound, it could be the sound of glass breaking. If pain, fear, anxiety breaks your spirits, challenges spelt, mirages suffocate, listen, a fissure in the heart of a tired soul, one can often hear the sound of glass breaking. Some silences are too loud, the shattering sound of glass breaking. When everything comes crumbling down, unbearable is the decibel, if you are the lonely, powerless spectator. But the sound of glass breaking is music when you still gather your broken pieces with a heart thirsty for life, eyes glowing with dreams. But the sound of glass breaking is music when you still gather your broken pieces with a heart thirsty for life, eyes glowing with dreams. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Meera Raghavan.
Theory. Well, I'll answer. Now I'll have take time and answer. Actually, when I came to literature, it was because of Macbeth. It was because of Macbeth. And when I started studying literature, I understood what catharsis is. It is a kind of purification of emotions. When we talk, in my point of view, in the postmodern age, catharsis is somewhat different from the art of letting go. Because we are in an age of fragmentation. We celebrate fragmentation of emotions. We cannot have that beginning, middle and end thing in the life that we have. So therefore, in my point of view, it is different from, rather than purification, rather than any kind of, uplift in that sense of the word, in the sense of accepting, it is more like you let the matter go and you move on to a different concept. In this regard, I would like to talk about one book that I am writing. I have written, it's upcoming in the Kolkata Book Fair. It's inspired from Jalaluddin Rumi, The Nameless Pigeon. It's a book which talks about the art of letting go. So when I was in pain, deep pain, I thought I would practice the art of what Keats called as negative capability. But at the same time, I felt that why to keep that in me? Why not let things go? I know I cannot forget. I know it's not possible to release everything. But at the same time, it is better to accept fragmentation rather than try to, mend it or repair it. So let us accept, let us have something that it is. So that is how I look at it, ma'am.
Audience, with your permission, let us go a little serious into it. Your entire paper is framed with positive psychology. Fine, excellent. That's the way the world goes now. Because as the last poem was read out, social media,
Yes.
too much of negativity, we are in need of positive thinking. Now my question is, when I was analyzing your citations, so you have given books from positive psychology, fine. You have also given Rosenblatt, Louis Rosenblatt, the reader,
Yes.
the text, the poem, the transactional theory. I would recommend that you also go back to, as I said, Aristotelian theory, where he talks about when the viewer is watching a good drama, he is identifying. Today we saw that happening. When some poems were being read, the audience were reacting, connecting themselves to the poem.
Right, ma'am.
When somebody read about the father, people were having tears.
Right.
When the kid was reading about the poem where the cousin lost the baby, all the women were reacting. We could hear the sounds. That is catharsis. Now as a research paper, since you have submitted it as a research paper, don't you think we should trace positive psychology itself to the Greek theories, and if possible even Sanskrit, we have to find out if there are similar theories. Point number one. Point number two, since you have talked about interpretation, the transactional theory of literary work, I would recommend Wolfgang Eicher.
Yes, Wolfgang Eicher.
Phenomenology. How a text is received by a reader.
Yes.
How the reader will imagine himself. He will not, most of the times, understand the intended meaning of the writer.
Right, ma'am.
He will imagine, he will create, he will perhaps constitute another meaning. Dr. Ganesh is here. He is here. So the meaning is decided by the reader. That's what Barth was talking about, right? So when we are talking about interpreting a poem from the position of positive psychology, we are assuming that all the readers will interpret the poem from a particular perspective. It may not happen. You can give a positive poem to me and I can read a negative meaning out of it. See, for example, the word, a simple word like a cloud, for some of us it may mean happiness, for me it may mean sorrow, right? So, is positive psychology a strong framework for literature? That's my question.
Yes, everybody, CPC.
No, I am raising these questions because it is a research paper.
Yes.
We are only having an interaction.
I have no problem.
We are not questioning or demeaning anything.
Please do.
Because if it is a paper in literature, then we must justify the framework.
Definitely. You will find something different also from what I, summarized. Yes.
No. You hold this, ma'am. I'll speak from this.
Yeah, please, sir.
Yeah, since ma'am raised the issue of phenomenology, of how we look at it, one thing that we have to look at is also the horizon of expectation, as an expression goes. So we need to have a kind of a framework within which we operate. Now, positive psychology is one, because as he rightly argued, that catharsis is obviously different from this kind of thing, and that letting go seemed to be a different thing. Now that again depends on the mindset. Now, can all of us let go is an important thing, but that seems to be his kind of argument. But with regard to your question, how we look at the, say, the cloud as happiness or cloud as sorrow, I think if you apply that horizon of expectations framework, then I think we should arrive at a kind of common minimum program, aesthetically speaking.
Yes, sir, I agree. But don't you think positive psychology has a business vibration to it, Americanized?
I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's why you mentioned Sanskrit aesthetics.
Then in that case, shouldn't we study the limitations of positive psychology?
See, I agree with you as long as you say that we need to indigenize the kind of frameworks that we have.
Exactly.
And look for frameworks that spring from our own kind of system, whatever it can be from Bengal, it can be from other regions. Because as you said that, see, we become victims to certain parameters that the West gives us, which may not be suitable to us. I agree with you. Indigenization would be better. Maybe the expression positive psychology must have some equivalent here, or we need to create an equivalent.
Yeah, it is doing very well in mental health.
Yeah, I understand.
But if we are academicians, then we must also study the limitations of positive psychology.
It should be.
And what it wants to avoid, it is caught within it.
Exactly. I think we need to be wary of that particular, area.
Because Tagore was not speaking about positive psychology. That is Sufi poetry.
That's right.
That is a typical Indian thought that liberates itself from itself.
Maybe you can critique positive psychology from an Indian point of view, and then possibly arrive at a kind of an equivalent, not exactly as they have given us, but look for certain things. But I agree with you with catharsis doesn't hold water in our arguments today. As ma'am was referring to the responses to poems, let's say, where say, a Kuti girl could possibly raise that kind of issue and making us think. So it's more consciousness raising, it's more becoming aware of the world, however ugly that is. It's not acceptance, but being aware. But most of us are cocooned in our own lives, kinds of comfort zones. That today for me poetry must wake us up from those comfort zones and look at or live with this ugly reality, but with a different response. Not negative again, not negative or not pessimistic, but we need to look for some kind of, that's where you have the word positive may be there, maybe that expression positive psychology may be.
A little bit, one or two paragraphs can be added.
Yes.
A kind of a dimension can be.
Please, it's your paper.
Ma'am, I'll tell you one small story. If you ever visit Calcutta, there is a metro station, very famous metro station, Rabindra Sadan metro station. I used to travel to my university. I come from Rabindra Bharati University, and there are poems written on the entire wall from Tagore's, several collections. So I mean, during intervals, I used to stand and read some of the poems. So there was this Bangla poem. It's like অতল আধার নিশা পারাবার তাহারি উপারি তলে দিন যে রঙিন বুদবুদ সম অসীমে ভাসিয়া চলে ভীরু মোর প্রাণ ভরসা না পায় মনে সেজে রবে কারো হয়তো তাই তব করুণায় মনে রাখিতেও পারো. So it talks about remembrance even in darkness. I was reading Sri Aurobindo while coming to Chennai. This is my first time in Chennai. So I found I came to understand him in a better way. I did not know much about him. I'm trying to read him more. I'm trying to read Gandhi in the way he talked about truth, he talked about the consciousness of God. So I feel, I agree with you, and also put my humble opinion is that, for example, if we take God to be something positive, the last place that all believers go, then our God consciousness is even limited, because we cannot consciously say this is Shiva, that is Durga. It is our limited capacity of attributing to consciousness. So whether it is positive or it is negative, I agree with both of you, sir and ma'am, that it's more about the way we look at things, the more about how we understand. That's it. And I think, sir, ma'am was trying to say that I should track back to the times of Aristotle, so that the entire paper can bring more, something, entire, picture becomes even clearer. So I got it. Yes,
because life is not only about positive things.
Yes, I got it, ma'am. Yeah.
Positive is a very business kind of a terminology. American writers are writing books like this, and they are the bestsellers now. Whole lot of books have come out. I had just written that name, Ross Gay. Some of you can check him out, Rossgay, Ross Gay.
Yeah.
He writes only on delight.
Yes.
On joy. And these books are selling like anything, because the entire thing is now marketed as positive psychology. Now what I am worried is, you've come all the way from, say, Kolkata. We should share something honest with you.
I'm very happy that you are taking time to speak so much on my paper.
Yeah, as an academician, I feel you are limiting Tagore or even Maya Angelou by giving a very market kind of a framework, whereas these writers can be given a philosophical framework.
Definitely, but when I thought of this paper, the Poetics of Uplift, and I thought of the conference, that is how I thought of the paper.
Happiness alone is not positive. Death and birth are the same.
Exactly.
We cannot only live for happiness.
Definitely, but at the end of the day, we all try to be happy.
India never talks about that. India talks about detachment. And Tagore talks about that. When you bring in an American philosophy, survival, winning, happiness, money, it doesn't fit in actually.
But does India only talk about detachment? India does talk about non-attachment also.
Yeah, detachment and non-detachment, everything within non-detachment.
Yes, but I have even, when you talk about the American writers who have written, like I have read Nick Trenton, he has a book. So he also talks about, he also brings a lot of things from the eastern part.
Mr. Mukherjee, your paper is fine actually. There are no issues.
No, I am just trying to learn from you.
What I am talking about is, as a young scholar, you have some 30-40 years of academic life in front of you. I only recommend that you go deeper.
Thank you.
Deeper.
Yes, ma'am.
So you will remember, coming to Madras, we want to give you a philosophical touch.
Definitely.
So that you can go to countries, wherever you go, you can talk about it. Whereas positive psychology is a child. It's something for a child. It's not for a mature academician.
I understand.
God bless you. Your paper is great. I have not criticized the paper.
No, you may. Please do. If you don't, how can I grow?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Hema, for the space.
My coming from 1700 kilometers doesn't justify that my paper has to be good. It has nothing to do with that. That much negativity I accept. Thank you.
Okay, now we know that all good things come to an end for newer beginnings. So we'll begin again and we'll go on our journey. Give him a big round of applause. Ashish, sir, please honor him. Please honor, both of you share and honor him. Ashish, please come to the center, take a nice picture. I call Miss Sujata Sairam, Miss Vishnu Priya and Miss Geeta. They've done a wonderful job, and Soumya as well. They deserve a bigger round of applause for all that they've done. Mr. Kadiravan, I hope you're here. Yeah, I'll call you. Please. Thank you. You deserve this. Pongo, pongo. Please, please. Ashish, be with your mom as well. Pongo, pongo. Please come, girls. Please come. Ravi, sir, you both do the honors. I'll do only for the last person. Yeah. I'll do the honors at the end, okay? Because please come, girls. Let's give them a big round of applause. Ashish, Sujata, Sairam, Ashish, Sairam, Geeta and Vishnu Priya. And Soumya. I need to call. Sir, I have other people also. I'll finish these because one at a time. Avanga Madam and Mrs. Jayaraman. Yes, please. Yes, please come. Please come. Please come. Please come. நீங்கள் கொடுத்துருங்க ரெண்டு பேருக்கு சட்டன் முடிச்சோம் அதான் ப்ளீஸ் உங்களுக்கெல்லாம் ஆனர் போங்கோ 25th anniversary போ போ கண்ணன் சட்டை வாங்கிக்கோ கண்ணன் சட்டை வாங்கிக்கோ போ I request Mr. Kadiravan and Mrs. Kaveri Jairam to just come onto the dais. Complimentary copy. You come. I'll come. And Kaveri ma'am can try that. Thank you. 30. Yeah, both the birthday kids, the birthday babies, honoring each other. Congratulations and a wonderful birthday to recall. Ma'am, can I honor? I'm just coming. I have to ask you a question, right?
And really wonderful it was. We are thankful to you for having come here and presented your paper. And to Madam Sridevi Selvaraj for being the moderator. Our thanks are due to Annai Printers, Saravanan, and Kadiravan is here, I suppose. Kadiravan is here? Yes, Kadiravan is here for having, every year they have been giving the print so beautifully in time. So I'm thankful to Saravanan and Kadiravan and all the poets in Chennai. Every year we have been enjoying their poems and this year was no exception. I thank them, each and every poet who have contributed, who could not come here, who have come here. And I am particularly thankful to the young poets and the school which is encouraging them. Yes, so all the young poets, we feel you should participate more and more in future also and write more and more. Then poets from outside Chennai, they are taking all the trouble to come here, especially some of them like our regulars, Paddy and Molly, Geetanjali, all others who have come here. I am thankful to each one of every one of you for having come here. And our grateful thanks to Shastralaya caterers, Gautam and his team for arranging a wonderful lunch. I am particularly thankful to N. Ravi, who has taken the photograph of the cover of our book. He is the husband of Hema Ravi, and every year he is outshining the previous year. Thankful to our photographer Ashish and your team for having come in time and stayed this long. Prakasha, okay, thank you Prakash. And I'll be failing in my duty if I don't thank the three volunteers, Soumya, Vishnupriya and Geeta. They have done wonderful work. Last but not the least, the office bearers. After the office bearers, two are founder members. They are there for the last 25 years. We are so privileged to have them, their advice and their mentorship. Of course, no words are enough to thank Hema Ravi for having organized these things. So we can give a very big cheer to her. Okay, thank you everybody. Thank you one and all.
Bye, bye.